presentation.
And,
Semi-final, Hartford and Quebec tied 1-1. Defenseman doing the scoring there in the first period. In the Norris Division, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the St. Louis Blues are in action tonight. Blues lead the series 2-1. The Leafs had a 1-0 lead in the first period of this game until the Blues head up ice, and Bruce Bell will beat Ken Reggett with that shot, so it is a 1-1 game. The Leafs and the Blues in Game 4. Now let's go upstairs and join Don and Scotty.
Well, the Winnipeg Arena is all white again tonight as the fans have responded to the pleas of the hockey club in their promotion to show up in white. The referee is 34-year-old Bob Hall with Gerard Gauthier and Ryan Bozak, the linesman. Mike Vernon, who was brilliant last night in the Flames' 3-2 overtime win, makes his third straight start and goal for the Flames. And for Winnipeg, Daniel Bergeron with his fourth straight start. He has won 2, lost 1. From the face-off, it's dumped down the ice. Racing back after it is Frederick Olofsson. He is partnered back on the blue line with Dave Ellett, and a skirmish in the center ice area. Thomas Steen of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Guy of the Flames. This was well behind the play, and referee Bob Hall wasted little time in whistling that one down just 18 seconds into the period.
A big test for Bob Hall doing his first NHL playoff game. We've seen a lot of this early in the games, both in Calgary and here last evening. Players trying each other out, making sure that there's enough authority asserted early in the game.
Kevin Guy, who did not dress last night, an Edmonton product who played junior hockey with Medicine Hat, going to the penalty box along with Thomas Steen, a number 5 draft choice in 1979. They both draw 2 minutes for delay of game. Bertome has now started the last 5 playoff games the Winnipeg Jets have been involved in. He had won the final game of the 1985-86 playoff season, that 4-3 overtime victory here at the Winnipeg Arena when Lanny McDonald scored the winning goal. Racing back into his own zone after it is Jim Kite. Berezan got there first. In the corner, it's Bossman and Terry Wilson fighting for it. Marois steps into Wilson, and then Marois is hit on a good check by Berezan, but breaking out is Neufeld. Neufeld trying to center it. He can't against Sutter. The puck goes back to the net. Jim Poplinski starts back for Calgary. We're approaching the 1-minute mark of the opening period. Lead pass for Berezan. Berezan hit into the boards by Marois. They continue the battle for the puck. Berezan very strong, working in that corner, tried to get it over to Poplinski. He couldn't do anything with it, and the Jets start back. No score. This game just underway here at the Winnipeg Arena. Game 4 of this Smythe Division semifinal. The Winnipeg Jets leading 2-1. The 5th game at the Saddledome in Calgary on Tuesday night. As the Flames bring it down the ice, it's flipped over the box. And a whistle on the play. And there'll be a face-off in the neutral zone.
Dale Howard, Bob Hall, first playoff game, has earned some respect back this season. Had a difficult start in this league, but this season it seems to have come on, and his career is now where he wants it to be.
He was the backup last night for Ron Hogarth. They have reversed roles for tonight's game. Hawerchuk is out there with Mullen and McLean. This was the Jets' #1 unit much of the season, but late in the year, with the arrival of Ian Duncan, he replaced Mullen on the left side. In the neutral zone, it's picked up by McLean. At the line, he is stopped by Paul Baxter, and Baxter feeds it ahead to Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk, working against Tim Waters, tried to center it. It bounces off the leg into the corner. Picked up in his own zone by Mullen. Rink-wide pass for Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk coming in against Aloranta. Aloranta falls as the puck goes into the corner. Aloranta with a good move to grab it with his glove. Couldn't get it out of the zone. And now Hawerchuk attempts to center. It bounces high, comes to the line and out. Dave Ellett back to Frederick Olesen. He has been playing on the right side for the Jets, but tonight he has moved back to the blue line with Brad Berry out of the Winnipeg lineup. Whistle on the play as the puck was hit with a high stick. The Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC, coming to you from Winnipeg.
At the Boston Garden tonight, Adams Division semifinal. This was the Bruins' opening goal of the game. Randy Burridge just called up from the minors. Nice move on Patrick Waugh as the Bruins open the scoring with a 1-0 lead, but Chris Chelios will answer for the Canadians as Chelios hanging on to the puck, and then he decides to do it himself. Pretty goal. 1-1 the score in the second period.
Pretty nifty maneuver by the defenseman Chelios to score that goal, Scotty.
Chelios has come into his own the last couple of seasons, joined the Canadians after the Olympics in '84, and has been a stellar defenseman for them this past few years.
Terry Wilson into the face-off circle against Laurie Boschman. Wilson has some fond memories from the Winnipeg Arena in 1982. He was a member of that junior team that defeated the Soviets here and then went down to Rochester and won the gold medal as a result of a 2-all tie with Czechoslovakia. They have a skirmish involving Steve Rooney and Perry Berezan. Or is it Jim Poplinski? No, it's Berezan, I believe. And that was before the face-off even took place. And there's some more pushing and shoving in back of the Winnipeg net. Neufeld and Poplinski have grabbed each other. Kevin Guy has Dave Ellett.
Berezan and Rooney looked at each other on the face-off and said, "Let's go."
And there's still that skirmish going on back of the net.
Reinhardt was very upset with Boschman, and they were the next two to go, but now we have the other 8 skaters trying to pair off, and we have the 3 officials trying to break them up.
No punches really thrown in this one, as a lot of pushing and shoving and tugging and pulling is going on.
Tiring enough, Don, 4 games in 5 nights with all the brawling and everything else. We haven't had a lot of fighting, but we've had a lot of this.
Well, Coach Bob Johnson of the Flames was concerned about the 4 games in 5 nights, something he said his team has never done since he has been in Calgary.
Well, being a college coach and preparing for your team games on the weekend, and he's looking forward, he said today, this game, he's naturally looking forward to a victory. He would then have preparation time for the remaining games of the playoffs, hopefully for the Flames.
Well, it appears they finally have things broken up with 17:44 remaining in the first.
Take me back where I belong.
It has not been a great series for the Boston Bruins against the Montreal Canadiens, but it has for Cam Neely. Neely at the side of the net. Parks home the rebound. That's his 5th goal of the playoffs. 2-1 Bruins in the second period.
Well, when you talk about trades, Cam Neely certainly benefited moving from Vancouver to Boston for Barry Peterson and a first-round draft choice. He's had a big year.
The other Adams Division teams have really felt this trade. They all were naturally trying to make deals with Vancouver for younger players, and I think the policy the Canucks had, they wouldn't trade young players, and all of a sudden they made this trade, and of course they really wanted to get their hands on Barry Peterson, and now with the draft pick coming up, Boston really looking pretty good right now.
Before the face-off, Rooney and Berezan, and although the linesman attempted to intervene, they dropped the gloves and started swinging away. So the penalties are now being assessed with 17:44 remaining in this opening period. The game's still scoreless. Berezan gets 2 for roughing and 5 for fighting, the same as Steve Rooney of the Jets. Reinhardt of the Flames gets 2 for roughing, and Boschman of the Jets also draws a 2-minute roughing minor. So we've played 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and already we've had 8 penalties in the hockey game. And this is where the specialty teams really come into their own, and the Calgary penalty killing last night was absolutely superb.
I think when you look at the goals that Calgary scored during the season, they're hold them at 2 goals in the 3 games, even strength, but the Jets are still playing their strong defensive game.
From the face-off, Tim Waters shoots it in. Mike Vernon leaves it back at the net for Neil Sheehy. Sheehy will probably see a lot of extra duty tonight with both McInnes and McCowan out of the lineup. Bozak, a star last night. Working to the corner against Carlisle, trying to get it out front. He's taken in against the boards. Tonelli couldn't move it. Kept in at the point, however, by Neil Sheehy. Howardchuk overskates it in his own zone. Gets another opportunity and starts out. To Paul McLean. He dumps it in. Racing into the corner after it is Ian Duncan. Vernon got there first, tried to play it around the boards. It went over the glass and out of play.
I'm sure John Tonelli's going to respond tonight with a big effort. Sitting out the game last evening, he's well aware he's a good team hockey player. He has a great record in the playoffs, about 170 games, I think, between the 2 leagues, and John, naturally, not probably in this position ever before, but he realizes that the Flames have a lot of depth, and if they're going to go a long way this year, they have to use all their personnel. It's a tough decision for a coach, but Johnson, he said that these decisions have to be made, and they're not surprises.
Tonelli, initially into pro hockey with the Houston Aeros of the World Hockey Association. 3 years with Houston. He was a number 2 draft choice of the New York Islanders in 1977. Mike Vernon looked a little shaky at the start of last night's game, Scotty, but he got stronger as the game progressed and was brilliant in the third.
He reminded the Flames how they got to the finals last year with his play in the last 2 periods, and they even talked about it after the game.
Paul Baxter, who did not dress for the first 2 games, got his first start last night and played well. Dumps it out, knocked down by Dave Ellett. Ellett with a long shot, that's gloved over the glass and out of play by Mike Vernon. Not dressed tonight is veteran Lanny McDonald.
Well, I think the tone was set last evening with the selection of players, and John Tonelli sat out last evening, and with the age factor, naturally, Doug Risebrough and Lanny McDonald, 2 experienced players, the character they've brought to the club, they're right behind the bench, they're team players all the way. They want to get a taste of a little more than they've had even last year.
And we also say hello to Jamie McCowan, who is watching the game tonight in the Health Sciences Center in Winnipeg. Jamie, we hope you're up and around soon. We understand that he will be hospitalized for maybe 3 or 4 days. In the Winnipeg zone, Ron Wilson leaves it for Frederick Olesen. He was looking for Andrew McBain, too far for him. It's fired back in by the Flames. 16:27 left in this opening period. No score. The 4th game of this Smythe Division semifinal. It looks as though the winner is going to play the Edmonton Oilers following their victory today, 6-3 over the Los Angeles Kings for a 3-1 lead in games. Poplinski couldn't control it at the line, and it's played off the boards and out by Mario Marois. Paul Baxter Plays it across ice to Alaranta as the Flames try and set up in their own zone with the Jets on a line change. Baxter drives it in. Berthiaume drops it at the side of the net for Jim Kite. 15:49, the time remaining in period one. Played around the boards and down the ice with Kevin Guy retreating for the Flames, being chased by Gilles Hamel. He plays it around the boards for Colin Patterson. Into the center ice area, picked up by Brett Hull, but as he touched it, it's ruled a two-line pass. Tonight's game is coming to you from the arena in Winnipeg. The second straight game, the fans in Winnipeg have showed up in white. I would say about 95% of them are wearing something white, as one press box wit commented last night. I wonder what would have happened if they'd asked them to show up nude. Dumped off the boards and down the ice, and going back after it is Tim Waters. Waters was looking for a Howardchuck. It was too far for him. It slides all the way back into the Flame zone, and Kevin Guy is there banking it off the boards into the neutral zone. Tim Waters wins the race for the puck as he tried to play it off the boards. He put it into the Jet bench. Well, there have been some rumors as to the future of Bob Johnson. There were some who were speculating that the Minnesota North Stars were interested in Johnson as their head coach. I asked Bob about the rumors prior to tonight's game, and he said, nah, I've got a 2-year contract. If I'm going to coach anywhere in the National Hockey League, it will be Calgary.
A wise decision to squelch the rumors as well, with your team always looking ahead. It's always tough for the players to wonder if rumors, if they surface, if there's really any truth in them. So Bob made a good decision.
They even had him rumored heading to Pittsburgh as a general manager. Marois goes back at his own goal. 14:58 left in this opening period. The Jets trying to clear it out, and Marois puts it over the boards and out of play. Dan Maloney in his first year as head coach of the Winnipeg Jets. What a job he has done with this hockey team.
And Dan was mentioning the fact that acquiring a player like Steve Rooney, another role player, however, Steve Rooney with the Montreal Canadiens last year went right to the very end, won the Stanley Cup, wasn't a big factor, but the previous year played 11 Stanley Cup games, and he said the presence of a player like that, keeps talking about what it's like to go further in the playoffs, can really help your club.
From the outset of the season, he stressed defensive hockey, and the Winnipeg Jets responded, reducing their goals against by 101. Vernon out of his net to play it. He dumps it high off the glass. Marois trying to pinch in from the point, but it's dumped out, and a two-line pass, or the Flames had a 2-on-1.
Well, here's Jim Kite, a 23-year-old first-rounder for the Jets. Have been very patient with Jim. Drafted in 1982, a native of Ottawa, has a hearing deficiency, and we know how much of an enforcer he's been for the Jets this season, especially against the Calgary Flames.
He does a lot of work during the off-season with the hearing impaired. A well-spoken young man. Very interested in the art.
John Ferguson, in his first-round selections, sometimes he says you get a player to play immediately, other times it's a project player, and Jim Kite was a good project player.
Frederick Olofsson leads Andrew McBain. He poked it in, and Kerry Alaranta is there for the Flames. Looking for Bozek. He was unable to get away from Frederick Olofsson. Dave Ellett cuts in front of his own net as he starts back for Winnipeg. A pass off Thomas Steen and dumped back into the Winnipeg zone by the Flames, and there's a whistle on the play as Baxter and Steen got sticks up at each other, and I believe Thomas Steen is going to draw a penalty with 14:11 left in the period. And the first power play opportunity of the game.
Not a good penalty for the Jets because it was in the neutral zone, and he did come up with his stick very high. No chance for a coincident penalty, and the Jets are going to be shorthanded.
Mike Bullard in the face-off circle against Laurie Boschman. Bullard, the overtime hero last night. Mullen gets it back to the line to Lube. Back to Lube. Lube fakes the shot to Bullard. Bullard moving in, saved by Berthiaume. Out front, another shot. Another save as Bullard was foiled once more.
Berthiaume's best save tonight's game. Rebound, and Bullard again.
Bullard seems to be able to get himself open in the slot against the Winnipeg Jets. And he had 2 good chances. Bullard has it in the neutral zone. To Lube. Lube working against Marois. Penalty coming up against Mario Marois, slashing on Håkan Lube. He took a 2-handed swipe at Lube, knocking the stick out of the hands of the Calgary player, and it looks as though the Jets are going to be 2 men short.
See Mario Marois, Lube with a lot of speed on the outside, laying on the lumber, as we say, and Bob Hall making a gutsy call.
So, for 1 minute and 20 seconds, the Flames will have a 2-man advantage with Mario Marois off for slashing. Bullard had a great opportunity early in the power play.
And with Berthiaume not losing position, the big key, the way he makes the first save, he doesn't put himself vulnerable for any rebounds. You have to go very high if you're going to beat him.
The Jets have Tim Waters, Ron Wilson, and Randy Carlyle out there. And a great chance for the Flames in this first period to jump into the lead. And Dan Maloney has to be concerned, looking on at a 2-man power play for the Calgary Flames. Reinhardt for Nieuwendyk. He shoots it in. Tim Waters gets it. Won't clear the zone. Lube keeps it in. Lube to Bullard. He tried to center it. Knocked down by Ron Wilson. He dumps it down the ice.
With Lube on the point, the Flames with 2-man advantage are going to try to work in close rather than take the poor percentage shot from the points.
This is where they missed that big booming shot of Al McInnes back on the blue line. Once again, Ron Wilson puts the puck away from Reinhardt out into the center ice area. The Flames have to set up again. Lube at the side of the net. Nieuwendyk back to the point for Lube. Lube over to Reinhardt. Back to Lube. Moving in. Shot! And Berthiaume puts that one over the glass and out of play. 23 seconds remaining in the penalty to Steen. 1:03 in the penalty to Marois.
The Flames scouting report, naturally this is Ron Wilson, a penalty killer. I don't know of any in the league that are a lot better than this fella. Gets all the tough jobs. The oldest standing Jet player in the National Hockey League. Lube went high for the glove side. After the goal of Bullard scored in the second game in Calgary, that could be they're going to try to exploit. I don't know if that's a weakness or not, Don, but they've gone high very often on Berthiaume.
Randy Carlyle stays out. So does Wilson. Jim Kite comes on to replace Tim Waters.
In this situation, you really like to get by the first penalty with 23 seconds left on the penalty to Steen, because a goal at this time only nullifies the 23 seconds, and you've already killed over 1.5 minutes of that penalty.
Wilson remains out there. Gets the draw. Carlyle in the corner. Dumps it up along the boards, and it bounces out. Wilson forces Suter back into his own zone. The fans reacting to some fine penalty killing by the Jets. The pass intended for Reinhardt bounces off the board, picked up by Wilson, and that will kill off one of the penalties as Thomas Steen comes out of the box. And across the line comes Tonelli. Tonelli's drop pass deflected to the line, but kept in by Alaranta. Alaranta for Tonelli. He attempts to center, gets it back again into the slot. And it's picked off by Andrew McBain. And McBain dumps it the length of the ice with 20 seconds remaining in the penalty to Marois. This crowd is alive.
This is what the Jets did so well during the regular season, killing off the penalties. 4th overall in the National Hockey League.
Gary Alaranta to Suter. He shoots it in. 3 seconds remaining in the penalty to Marois. It's played into the neutral zone. The Jets are back at full strength.
Big momentum builder for the Jets. The fans are really alive, and they should be.
Here's the chance now for Bullard. In across the line, a shot, big save, the rebound, and he backhands it wide. Loose puck at the side of the net. Bullard couldn't get a stick on it, and back comes Paul McLean for Winnipeg. Gillamel going for the net. And Mike Vernon got a skate on it and steered it to the corner, and there's a penalty coming up here against the Calgary Flames. Live on CBC, the Stanley Cup playoff. Off at 8:58, a slashing penalty, so after killing off a two-man advantage, the Jets go to the power play.
Similar type of penalty that Mario Marois took. Defensive zone, but high sticking or slashing, hooking, stick penalties are easy for the officials to detect. They will not let these penalties go by.
They whistle that down. They'll drop it again. The Jet power play came up with 1 goal last night, but they had 7 glorious chances to put it away, and the Flames did an excellent job of penalty killing. Steve Bozak was a key figure for the Flames. Carlisle fakes the shot to McLean. Back to Carlisle. He takes the shot right on. Vernon gloves that. And Reinhart tries to clear it out and succeeds.
Coach Johnson doesn't feel he can put just one centerman against Howardchuk. Plays so much, has a lot of confidence in all his centermen, and likes to share the job.
A pass intended for Mullen behind him, and the Jets have to go back into their own zone and try and set up. Played off a Flame deep into Calgary territory. Guy tries to bang it off the boards, kept in by Mullen for Paul McLean. McLean battling with Reinhart. Mullen also comes in. Mullen has it. Back to the line for Carlisle. Back to Mullen. To McLean. He couldn't control it at the side of the net. Bozak gets it and plays it off the glass into the center ice area. Bozak did not dress for the first 2 games, but what a valuable addition he was last night. He adds speed to that Calgary lineup. Dumped in by Carlisle, and he takes a hit from Kevin Guy. And so far, the Flames have done quite a job on the Jets with just 50 seconds remaining in the penalty to Tim Hunter. In the Winnipeg zone, the puck stolen by Poplinski. A long shot on goal. Berthiaume has to play it. He leaves it there for Frederick Olofsson. 35 seconds left in the penalty to Hunter. Olofsson in across the line. He has great speed. He's tied up by Sheehy. The puck is loose. Ian Duncan plays it into the corner to Thomas Steen. Back to Duncan. To Steen. Steen to the point to Howardchuk. Takes the shot. It goes wide. At the other point, Ellett keeps it in. In the corner, this is Duncan. Duncan trying to move it out front. Knocked down by Neil Sheehy. Good defensive play. To the point. Howardchuk keeps it in. He slides it to Olofsson. Back to Howardchuk. To Olofsson. To Howardchuk. A shot. Deflected. Good save. As Vernon covers up. And now Jim Poplinski sends Thomas Steen flying, but what a big save on the deflection by Mike Vernon. Now with an update on other games taking place tonight, here's Chris Cuthbert.
Don, let's check the scores in the Patrick Division Series. The Rangers trying to even the score, lead the Flyers 3-0 at Madison Square Garden in the second period. And in the other Patrick Division semifinal, the Washington Capitals lead the Islanders 3-1 and will try to take a 3-1 lead in that series.
Minor penalties assessed against both Jim Poplinski and Thomas Steen. But we raved last night about the performance of Mike Vernon in the third period. 2 big saves on the Jet power play.
Young Ian Duncan shaking his head. Each of the 3 games before this one, he's had excellent scoring chances, made a good tip in there. The Flames are very conscious after whistles and after stops by their goaltender that they really get they don't like players standing in front. Towards the end of the season, there's Suter clearing out one player. We'll see Poplinski come in here a little bit late. Sheehy's got his man, and the double penalty, the Jets are naturally incensed that they would also get a penalty as well as Poplinski.
Steen and Poplinski drawing 2 minutes for roughing at 11:01. So the penalty-killing units of both teams have responded in this opening period. It's still scoreless with 8:59 to play. The Jets lead the series 2-1. Winnipeg won the first 2 in Calgary by scores of 4-2 and 3-2. In overtime last night, it was the Flames. Mike Bullard scoring the winning goal for a 3-2 decision. From the face-off, Alaranta behind his own net. for Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk for Mullen. Back to Hunter. He couldn't do anything with it. And it's dumped down the ice with Paul Baxter going back for Calgary. Pass too far for Mullen. Marois has it for the Jets. Marois goes back of his own net, still being bothered by Mullen as he works his way into the center ice area. Shoots it in. Doug Smale racing after it. Great save by Vernon off Ron Wilson.
Vernon read it all the way, knew the puck was coming across, and got there just at the right time.
Jim Kite plays it in his own zone for Marois. He tried to dump it high, it went over the glass and out of play.
With goalie coach Glenn Hall, I'm sure Vernon has picked up in his play the last year and a half, and I see a lot of similarities. Glenn was a great goaltender for anticipating plays, and it's very difficult for a young goaltender to acquire that ability to really try to guess what might happen, and he's guessed very well. Slid right across, and Andrew McBain just didn't get it. Really didn't get up high enough. It's the only place he had to put it in.
8:14 remaining in the period. Still scoreless, the Flames and the Jets. Bosman against Wilson, back to the line. Reinhart with a shot, the save by Daniel Berthiaume. And Hamel gets it out into the center ice area. Here's a 2-on-1. Lead pass for Boschman off his stick. Boschman gets it again for Hamel. Hamel centering it, and Neufeld couldn't get a shot away. Back to the line. Waters lets it go. Knocked down by Kerry Wilson, and he clears the zone.
Carlisle reads plays very well. When he broke in with the Leafs, of course, in Pittsburgh, great defenseman for knowing and smelling those plays coming up the middle.
Kevin Guy was looking for Perry Berezan. It slid all the way into Winnipeg territory, and Tim Waters handled it for Neufeld. To Dave Ellett, to Boschman, to Hamel. He couldn't control it. It slides into the corner. Boschman races in against Bozak. Hamel and Guy are also there, and Guy digs it out to Berezan. Ahead to Tonelli. Trying to work around Olofsson. He does. Races into the corner after it. Dave Ellett got there first. Bozak is also there. He's tied up by Ellett, and now Olofsson takes over for Winnipeg. 7:02, the time remaining in this opening period. Still scoreless at the Winnipeg Arena. Suter playing it around for Lube. He can't get out. Ellis keeps it in for Howardchuk. Back to the line. It's intercepted by Bozak. Here's a 3-on-2 for the Calgary Flames, led by Steve Bozak. Drop pass to Lube. Moving in. Saved by Berthiaume. The puck got behind him, but there to pick it off and play it out was Jim Kite. 6:38 is the time remaining in the first period.
Can your motor oil take the heat? When today's engines reach high running temperatures, motor oil can thin out, break down, and leave engine surfaces unprotected. But Castrol XLR has been engineered to maintain a lubricating film.
Canadians have come back. Nice pass by Ryan Walter here to Bobby Smith, who goes stick side and deflects it off a Bruin defenseman in for his third goal of the playoffs. And then the big scoring sensation last night for Montreal, Mike McPhee with a goal, beating Bill Ranford 3-2, about 5 minutes left in the second period.
And, of course, the Montreal Canadiens can finish off the Bruins with a victory tonight. In this series, there will definitely be a fifth game, as the Winnipeg Jets lead the series 2-1, Game 5 at the Saddle Dome in Calgary on Tuesday night. Baxter and Hamel fighting along the board. It comes loose, and Alaranta takes it back into his own zone. Stolen by Olofsson, but apparently it was offside as he took it away from Patterson.
Fredrik Olofsson from Sweden, and the Jets are courting another Swedish draft choice, Roger Ullman. I understand played in the World Junior Tournament, Don, and they're very impressed with this big fella. Awful big young hockey player, and the Jets have done very well with their European scouting.
They're very impressed with Roger Ullman. He played extremely well for Sweden at the World Junior Tournament. Like so many of the Swedish players, he's very versatile. He can play back on the blue line at any forward position, and he has the size. This is Wilson across the line, takes the shot, steered to the corner by Berthiaume. Reinhart with a shot right on, and Berthiaume knocked that one high in the air. Marois dumps it down the ice. No icing. Reinhart goes back for Calgary. 5:48 left in the first period. It's scoreless at the Winnipeg Arena. Marois shoots it in. Kevin Guy plays it around on the boards. Berezan is bumped there by Thomas Steen. He ties him up. Hamel trying to dig it out. He's taken in against the boards, and Harry Berezan starts out with the puck. To Reinhart. Dumping it through for Wilson. It's loose in front of the net. Poked away by Daniel Berthiaume. Now Kite for Marois. Marois hammers it around the boards and down the ice, and this will be an icing call against the Winnipeg Jets with 5:10 remaining in the period. This is Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Who's the giant of the tire industry when it comes to replacement radials?
Scotty, a close checking game once again, as most of the games in this series have been.
14 shots, many of them tough variety. Both Berthiaume and Vernon have had some quality saves.
In the center ice area, Suter drives it in. Carlisle for the Jets. Having trouble getting away from Neuendijk, flips it over to McLean. McLean shoots it into the Calgary zone. Sheehy tried to clear, went off a leg. Mullen tries to get it out. Can't against the checking of McLean. And then finally it's dumped down the ice by Tim Hunter. Carlisle retreats after it for Ian Duncan. Duncan looking for McLean in the center ice area. It's intercepted by Suter. Carlisle battling along the boards, trying to get it free. He does, but Howardchuk's pass knocked down by Suter as the Flames set up in their own zone. Suter, rink-wide pass for Mullen. Mullen drops it off to Tonelli, but he put himself offside in the process.
Neil Shee, 27-year-old out of Fort Francis, however, played his hockey at International Falls, Minnesota, and he grew where he grew up, and a free agent signed in 1983 out of Harvard. An older brother, Tim Shee, turned pro with the New England Whalers, and I was talking with Tim today. He comes from a family of 9. Said his dad really didn't want to encourage his older brother Tim to go for a pro career, but he's followed suit, and the type of an overachiever that all teams would like to acquire, and Neil has really done a fine job with this Flames team.
And a nephew of legendary football star Bronco Nagurski. Bozak in the center ice area. As his pass knocked down by Dave Ellett, he drives it in deep. Delayed penalty call coming up against the Calgary Flames. A high sticking infraction. And I believe Steve Bozak is the man who was fingered. So the Winnipeg Jets, with 3:58 left in the period, get another man advantage.
With the contact that we've had in the series, the players are bringing up their sticks very high. These are easy penalties for the officials to get. They're not going to let this stick infractions really get going too far. And Bozak, naturally, he wasn't even self-protection. He was self-destruction on that one.
Well, sometimes the referees get caught up in the action, and John Tonelli trying to get by referee Bob Hall.
Could give him 2 minutes for interference.
Back at the line, Ellett takes the shot, saved. The big rebound is cleared. Paul Reinhart picking the opening. Ellett retreats.
The Jets' power play has to really get them back into this series with some goals, because the frustration will start to mount, especially at home.
Duncan races to the corner. He's bodied by Kevin Guy. Paul McLean comes up with it. Back to the line for Ellett. Over to Marois. Back to Ellett. Ellett to Howardchuk. Howardchuk had difficulty controlling it. McLean gets it back to the line to Ellett. To Marois. Fakes the shot, dumps it in back to the net for Howardchuk. Howardchuk is bodied. Reinhart plays it around in the boards, but not out. Ellett takes the shot off a leg over to McLean. McLean moving in. Takes the shot wide. Marois. He takes the shot. It's deflected high against the end boards. Now Colin Patterson will find an opening and drive it the length of the ice.
The Flames, being one of the more aggressive teams in the NHL, the only way to turn these type of clubs off, score some power play goals, and this could help the Flames going into the 5th game, playing aggressive hockey at home.
Frederick Olesen takes a shot. It goes wide. Carlisle keeps it in for Winnipeg. In the corner, Thomas Steen to Howard-Chuck, trying to get it out front. It bounces back to the line. Carlisle unable to keep it in. Here's the race. Berezan's got a breakaway. Terry Berezan going in. Save the rebound. Luke scores. Daniel Berthiaud made the initial save on Terry Berezan, but Hokenloeb following up, grabbed the rebound and slid it between his legs. It just dribbled across the line.
Berezan showed a lot of foot on this one and won the foot race, put a shot in, and Berthiaud made the first save. Loeb was there, and the Jets have been very strong in this area of not allowing that second shot. And the Flames, we see right here where Carlisle loses the puck, and Berezan shows a lot of acceleration. And Loeb, of course, following up with the play, and you'll see where Loeb he sort of slows up to allow the Jet defender to maybe go for the puck carrier. He comes in, and the puck just crosses the line. And
Loeb, a shorthanded goal with Berezan drawing the assist. 14 seconds remaining in the penalty to Steve Bozek. And the Flames not only have excelled in a penalty-killing capacity, but they have come up with a goal. Now Patterson and Carlisle doing some shoving in that Winnipeg zone. Sheehy and Olesen have also grabbed each other's jersey. Boschman having words with Sheehy as well. And there's been a lot of this in the series.
I'm sure
major outbreaks, but a lot of minor scuffles.
I'm sure Carlisle, knowing the importance of this one, he still has a stick in his hand. He really didn't want to get involved and go to the penalty box.
Neufeld and Poplinski exchanging pleasantries as they continue to skate around out there, but it appears as though everything is now under control with 2:04 left in the period.
With Boschman taking all the important draws, the Flames realize that, and every chance they get, they've nudged them and challenged them and really wanted to get him into that penalty box. I don't think Boschman's going to go this time. It'll be just Carlisle and Patterson for the Flames.
That shorthanded goal by Loeb at 17:35 with Berezan drawing the assist. That was the first of the playoffs for Hokenloeb. Last year in the playoffs, he had a pair of shorthanded goals.
Dan Maloney questioning what Carlisle did on this play because he didn't drop his stick. We'll have offsetting penalties for sure.
Just 6 seconds remaining in the penalty to Steve Bozek.
The Flames talked, I think, at their meeting today, that shorthanded situations, they've had so many of them that they had the capabilities of scoring a shorthanded goal, especially the speed of Bozak and Loeb, and of course on that penalty to Bozak, Loeb was out there, and Berezan, they showed a lot of speed to make that a 1-0 lead for the Flames.
Roughing minors against Carlisle and Patterson. And finally the Jets send out their unit. And the extra protection being worn by Paul McLean. He took a puck in the face and required some stitches early in Game 3 last night. Flames back at full strength. Loeb in across the line for Alarada. He fires a shot wide. Along the boards, the Jets get it out. Lead pass goes off Duncan down into Calgary territory, and we've got another penalty coming up. Baxter and Jim Kite in the center ice area, and again a lot of pushing, but nobody has dropped any gloves. Baxter's going to be going off. I'm not sure if Kite was also fingered by referee Bob Hall. It appears as though he was. .138 is the time remaining in this opening period. 1-0 the Calgary Flames leading the Winnipeg Jets. The Flames trying to get back on even terms. If they're successful, then home ice advantage in this series would then revert to them with 2 of the next 3 at the Saddle Dome. Bob Murdoch, one of the Flames' 2 assistant coaches. Pierre Paget upstairs. Rick Bonas, one of the 2 Jet assistants, with Bill Sutherland upstairs. Slashing Miners against Kite and Baxter at 17-22.
The Jets feel a little snake bitten here, I think, with Carlisle and Kite both getting offsetting penalties and showing a lot of restraint, but nevertheless, we're all even.
Winnipeg manages to keep it in. Paul McLean controlling. McLean back to the line. Marois into the corner to Hawerchuk. Centered. McLean failed to deflect it. McLean battling along the board. Manages to get it loose to Hawerchuk. And another penalty coming up here. With 1:13 left in the period.
Hawerchuk questioning the loss of possession, claiming that the Jets still had possession of the puck.
Hawerchuk is drawing a penalty. Daniel Berthiaume had come racing out of the Winnipeg net, heading for the bench.
Sure fooled us all on that one. It looked like Kevin Guy was going to the box.
Hawerchuk for elbowing at 18:47. So now the Flames will have the man advantage. 1-0 Calgary leads. 1:13 the time left in the period. Winnipeg captain Dale Hawerchuk, who had 2 goals in the first game in Calgary in a 4-2 win, going to the penalty box with that elbowing violation.
Dan Maloney has taken a position in front of the Winnipeg bench at this time, and he's getting ready, I think, to put on his skates.
Bullard and Wilson are waved out of the face-off circle. Nieuwendyk comes in with Smale. There have been a lot of penalties in all 3 of the previous games in this series, and this one is continuing that trend. Mullen for Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk takes the shot, saved by Berthiaume, and he grabs the rebound and holds on, with Bullard streaking in and being tied up by Mario Marois.
Talk about Joe Nieuwendyk. Was maybe his skating might bother him in the National Hockey League, but showed a lot of foot and quick hands on that one. Got a real good shot away from about 30 feet, and Berthiaume had to be sharp.
A number 2 draft choice in 1985. He played at Cornell. He's a native of Oshawa, Ontario.
Nieuwendyk filling big shoes with the loss of Joel Otto, and every day the Flames feel Joel Otto is getting closer to play. They had talked often about the 6th game, but he might even be ready for Tuesday night's game.
Along the boards, the Jets try and get it out. They can't the first time, but they succeed the second try. 50 seconds remaining in the period. Suter in across the line. Still trying to control it. The puck is loose in the Winnipeg zone, and it's poked out. Here's a chance for Winnipeg. Lead pass for Smale. He's upset. Penalty coming up against the Calgary Flames. Wilson was trying to slide it ahead to Smale, and Reinhart upset him.
Reinhart was reading the play as if it was going to be a pass on the stick of Smale. As it turned out, of course, the pass was a little bit too far ahead of Smale, but Reinhart had already tripped up Smale, so he will offset this power play.
32 seconds remaining in the period.
We'll see here where Smale has a good jump on Reinhart, and Reinhart finally tugs him down. It would have been close had he not pulled him down, and Smale might have picked up that puck outside the blue line.
So that penalty to Reinhart offsets the minor, assessed Dale Hawerchuk. 1:19 is the time left in the penalty to the Winnipeg captain, with Reinhart now going off. 12-6 the shots on goal in favor of the Flames. And of course they lead the game 1-0 on that shorthanded goal by Håkan Loob. Steen against Bozak. Steen controls in the corner, trying to move out from the corner. Centers it. Olofsson was tied up. Couldn't get a shot away. Loob plays it along the boards for Bozak. Bozak trying to move it out. Can't. Kept in by Dave Ellett. Ella trying to kick it free. He's upset by Bozak. The fans react, but there's no penalty. Alaranta slides it ahead to Bozak. Breaking out with Lube. Suter following up in the play. Lube dumps it in back to the net. Suter is there trying to get it out front just as the horn sounds to end the period. So the score at the end of the first period is Calgary 1, Winnipeg nothing.
The goal score, 1-0 for the Flames after one, and penalty killing has been a big story for them in this series, particularly last night. One of their best penalty killers, Steve Bozak, joins us now. Ironically, you were in the penalty box when the goal was scored. Was that part of a game plan, the way you guys score shorthanded goals?
Well, definitely not. It was a big play by both Perry Berezan and Håkan Lube. When you're on the power play, the one thing the point men have to be aware of is try not to glance one off the penalty killer's shin pads, because a lot of times it'll bounce past the defenseman, and that's what happened on that one, and they went down, and the goaltender came up with a big save, but Håkan Lube was right there for the rebound.
You did something in late March against the Oilers I'd never seen before, scoring 2 men short. Do you think offense when you're out there?
Well, you can't think offense until you definitely have the puck. You got to try, when you get the puck, you got to go at them hard, otherwise you're just kind of playing into their hands and letting them come at you, all the time. So when you get the puck and you have a chance to go at, a lot of times you get a 2-on-2 with the defenseman if your partner's jumping. So you definitely have to think defense. That's the main priority. But when you get a chance to get an offensive opportunity, you definitely have to try and take advantage of it.
They say you just can't buy playoff experience. You had great experience last year. How much was it a factor in you coming up big in such a critical game last night?
Well, it's my 6th year in the league, and I've been in the playoffs every year except once, and there's nothing like playoff hockey. It's so much more emotional than during the regular season, and I was really happy to be able to jump in there and give the team a spark, because it seemed like we were definitely in a lull at that time, and hopefully,
There are very few places in this land that people didn't say Calgary's going into a hornet's nest and they can't win 4 out of 5 against the Winnipeg Jets, but they did win in overtime in Game 3. Are you surprised?
No, because we had a pool around here, and I picked Calgary. They're too good a club to take the pipe 3 straight.
Now, the fact is that Winnipeg loses a game and this series is on again. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, let me tell you something. I would be a little worried if I was Winnipeg. And one thing I don't understand watching that game is that they didn't have a sellout. Now, you've got great players like Howard-Chuck, Marawa, the kid, what's his name?
Daniel Berthiaume.
All right,
goaltender, yeah.
Good goaltender and all that, and you don't get a sellout. They got those silly pom-poms.
You don't like those?
Pom-poms are for football, college football, and all that stuff.
Speaking of college, Gary Suter from college was the Calder Trophy winner last season, but he was booed in Calgary in Game 2. They're really on him. Are you feeling sorry for him?
Well, what happened, I empathize for the guy. That's what you used to like. But what happens is, you come to camp, you're a rookie, eh? You come to camp and you're a rookie, you're all excited, your mind's in gear, you try. Had a heck of a year. Clark was better. Oh, Wendell Clark, a lot better. But he had a heck of a year, and it's tough playing a rookie defenseman, okay? Now, all of a sudden, he gets Rookie of the Year. Hey, I'm pretty good here. He doesn't realize he's been around the league a couple of times. They know his weakness. So he comes to camp with his mind not 100%, not quite right, and he has a tough time. It gets worse and worse and worse. I guarantee you the kid will come back next year and have a good year.
Brett Hull is a rookie for Calgary that was inserted into the lineup and paid his dues to get into the lineup.
Oh, he went down to the minors. Those college guys, they have a picnic down there around. He went down to the American Hockey League, learned a little character, rode the buses, came back, and he's playing well. That's what all those college guys should do. Send him down to the American League, learn a little character and honesty, and they come back and played. You could see how the kid's got a little determination and character like his old man now.
And he's also inherited the scoring abilities. 50 goals in the American Hockey League, and he's got the touch now for the Calgary Flames. They're back in it, the Jets and Flames, in a whale of a Smythe Division semifinal.
Coach's Corner with Don Cherry has been brought to you by Tremco, makers of Valspar Superthane and a complete line of wood care products.
1-0 for Calgary at the end of one period in Winnipeg. The Flames down by 1 in this series as they try to even it, have the lead, and that's the same situation in Toronto tonight. The Leafs down by a game, but with a 1-goal lead as Greg Therrien's shot goes off a man in front. Dandau scores, and now we're going live to Toronto.
Here's Federko going in with a shot. Off the boards it comes to Benning. Benning slides into the side of the net, and Reagan has to be careful with it. He nearly mishandled it with Federko standing there. We welcome you people who have been watching the Winnipeg-Calgary game to this one in Toronto. I'm Bob Cole with Harry Neal, and here's Paslowski coming in. Couldn't get a shot. He went sprawling to the left of the net. Paslowski back on his feet with Federko in the corner, back to the line. Benning gets set, rolled it in front. The Leafs have a 1-goal lead here on the strength of Dow's goal here in the third period, and here's Osborne. In with Cardinal. Osborne for the net, and he's upended, went flying. Cardinal went after it. Cardinal is knocked flat. They each had a goal in the first period. A scoreless second, and here's Cardinal shooting, and that's stopped by Wamsley. He fired a bullet at him. Dow has scored here in the third at 1:43, and Reagan stops a long one. Cavallini couldn't hit it. Back to the net in a check. It's opened up quite a bit now. Here's the Blues try to get even with the Maple Leafs. The Leafs get it to the line and out. In a check with Gill coming in with Lands and Thomas. Thomas shot. Stop. Rebound. It bounces down in front of the net to Thomas. And he missed a chance there. Andrus takes over. The Blues trailing the Maple Leafs 2-1. Come to center ice. Gilmore decides to go back a bit with it. Hunter is in the penalty box. He'll be out in 4 seconds. Now the penalty is over, and the Blues are at full strength. Dow backhands it in. Natras from the corner swings away. Natras, the defenseman, lugging it up to center ice with Hunter. Fired in wide of the Leaf net, and it's Lehman skating back. A very fast pace to this third period now. Up to center is Lehman. Lehman going all the way with it. Plowing through his check. Thomas grabs it. Lehman again. He's upended, and the Blues, 3 of them come back out. Reeves takes the pass. Rolled it in. Dow was there. Here's Gilmore with a good fake, and Dow centered it. And the Leafs cover up and go the other way again. 3 of them. A pass to Therrien. He is offside.
Well, they've got a good one going in Toronto. We'll keep you posted on any further scoring at Maple Leaf Gardens. Live on CBC, this is Hockey Night in Canada and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
4 skaters aside as Lou brings it out. 27 seconds remaining in the penalty to Dale Howardchuk. 1:04 left in the penalty to Paul Reinhart. Stolen by Lube. In across the line with Bozak. Lube trying to set something up, trying to get away from Olesen. The battle continues. It goes to Bozak at the side of the net. He tries to hook it out front, and it's knocked down by Dave Ellett. He gloves it ahead to Dave's Thomas Steen, and the whistle goes for a face-off in that Winnipeg zone. The only goal of the game, a shorthanded tally in the first period by Håkan Lube, as he followed up Perry Berezan, who let the initial shot go, and he dribbled it between the legs of Daniel Berthiaume. The Flames outshot the Jets 12-7 in the opening period. In 5 seconds, the Jets will have a power play for 41 seconds. But so far in this series, superb penalty killing by the Calgary Flames. The Jets have scored just 2 goals in 19 opportunities. And Scotty, they've given up a goal.
And Jim Poplinski, although he's missing his line mate, Joel Otto, has come up very big on these penalties.
From the face-off, Marois takes it back of his own net. Boschman. Lead pass too far for McLean. Oh, that one almost went off Paul McLean as Vernon tried to clear it. And McLean streaking in, had it go off his body, and it just missed the open net. Another penalty coming up against the Flames. And as it's touched by Poplinski, the whistle goes. 24 seconds remaining in the penalty to Reinhart. From the arena in Winnipeg, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC.
feet taken out from under him, and Guy goes in the box.
The Jets trailing by 1. A two-man advantage. Back to the line to Merwa. To Carlisle. Carlisle at the side to McLean. McLean back to the point. Carlisle to Howard Chuck behind him. Howard Chuck back to Carlisle. Moving in. A shot that goes wide. Duncan is bumped into the Calgary goal and knocks it off its moorings, resulting in a whistle. With 6 seconds remaining in the penalty to Reinhart, 1:42 in the penalty to Kevin Guy.
The Flame defenders have been very tough in front of their goal, and we'll see here where Gary Suter pushes the Jet forward, and after the whistle, the Flames have been guilty of this most of the season, but it's a good percentage play. You're 2 men down, and very unlikely to be called, even when they're even strength plays. It's a tough call on the official. He's watching the puck carrier, and the Flames make it very tough to stand in front of their net. Although Randy Carlisle, on this ensuing play, you see he had a very good shot. He missed the net. The other time he tried for Howard Chuck, and Carlisle is still out there on this power play along with Mario Merwa, 2 experienced point men.
Just 6 seconds remaining in the 2-man advantage. Howard Chuck with McLean and Duncan up front. Merwa and Carlisle back on the point. Suter is out there. Sheehy and Bozak to kill it off for Calgary. The draw comes back to Merwa to Carlisle. Carlisle takes the shot. It dribbles through. They bang away at it, but Vernon covers up. The puck deflected to the goal mouth, and Vernon alertly grabbed it and held it with all that traffic in his crease.
Vernon, we see Vernon not being a very tall goaltender, out in top of his crease, holding good position, and Carlisle let this shot go, and like McLean had one good whack at it. See where she came in and pushed the player over. McLean will stand in front. We know that that's where he parks himself, and Howard Chuck off to the side. And the Jets cannot let their frustrations get the better of them on their power play.
So Reinhart is out of the penalty box. 1:34 remaining in the penalty to Kevin Guy. Back to the line to Merwa. Merwa takes the shot. That's steered to the corner. Picked up by Howard Chuck. Howard Chuck to Merwa. He tried to get it back to Howard Chuck, and it was knocked down by Poplinski. A race for the puck, and Merwa is chased back into his own zone by the Calgary forward. Carlisle comes out to help out. Lead pass now for Howard Chuck, in across the line with McLean. He tried to get it across, it didn't get through. Back at the point, Carlisle having difficulty keeping it in. Howard Chuck flips it, it bounces high. Kept in by Paul McLean into the corner for Howard Chuck. He centered it, nobody there. Merwa lets it go right on. The big rebound is fired down the ice by Patterson.
Flames showing a lot of poise in front of their goal. Their box was right where it should have been, and they had 3 players could have got that rebound and cleared it for them.
40 seconds remaining in the man advantage as Dave Ellett brings it out to Laurie Boschman. Boschman trying to set something up. Back to Olesen, over to the other side. Dave Ellett takes a shot through traffic. It just deflects wide. Boschman is bumped in against the boards. Dug out by Thomas Steen, trying to jam it. It bounces high at the side of the net. Steen back to the line. Olesen takes a shot. It's wide. Ellett lets it go. It's deflected, and Vernon makes the save. Great action here. Vernon keeping the Jets at bay. Here's a blast that goes high up into the crowd. And again, more pushing and shoving at the side of the net with just 5 seconds remaining in the penalty to Kevin Guy.
Paul Baxter's added a lot of oomph to this Flames defense, and Coach Johnson showing a lot of confidence with Baxter being experienced. And back
live on CBC Hockey Night in Canada.
No matter where you come from, or who you are, join the team against drugs. This is Jean Béliveau supporting the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in bringing you this very important public service message.
Well, coincidental minors against Paul Baxter and Ray Neufeld as a result of that skirmish in front of the net.
You see where Baxter gets right up there on top of Neufeld, and Neufeld was holding position, might have given him a jab earlier, and Hall is putting both of them off.
Baxter for charging, Neufeld for interference at 2:59. There were 20 penalties in the opening period, and that penalty trend has continued here in the second, with the Flames enjoying a 1-0 advantage. A shorthanded goal by Håkan Loob, the only scoring in the hockey game. Wilson gets it back to Olsson. His shot just sails wide. Allett was unable to keep it in at the point as Patterson directed it down the ice, and Guy is out of the penalty box. Jale Hamel with a long shot. That sails wide. Picked up along the boards by Kerry Wilson. To Reinhart. To Poplinski. Broken up by Olsson. Back comes McBain. McBain drops it for Wilson. His weak shot bounces high. Back to the line. Olsson lets it go. That is blocked, and here's a chance for Kerry Wilson. Wilson breaking in on Berthiaume. He comes out to make the save. Loose puck in the corner. Poplinski tried to get it back to the point. Intercepted by McBain. And now Boschman feeds it on the left side to Duncan. He tried to drop it back. And it came out across the line and was picked off by Berezan. Berezan flips it in. Racing into the corner after it is Randy Carlyle. He plays it around the boards. Too far for Duncan. Going back into his own zone after it is Kevin Guy. For Patterson. Guy into the center ice area to Berezan. A two-line pass. It's offside.
Don, in Adams Division action tonight, the Montreal Canadiens have a goal from Shane Corson. They're 9 minutes away from a sweep of the Boston Bruins. The Quebec Nordiques have two from Michel Goulet and are trying to even that series. They lead Hartford 3-1 in the second.
Wilson showed a lot of speed. It looked for a while he might take a backhand shot. He came right across, and Berthiaume got that pad across just in time to make the save. And the Flames have shown a lot of speed in the early going in the second period.
Waters shoots it in. It's offside as Rooney was inside the blue line.
Dougie Smale has been a great penalty killer for this team, and Dougie was signed as a free agent out of the University of North Dakota, and now has sort of settled in to be a stalwart defensive player. One year he did score 31 goals, but now he's counted on more to do the penalty killing and do a good job defensively.
Tremendous speed, 5'9", 170 pounds. He might be one of the fastest players in the league, if not the fastest. A shot to the goal mouth, but a Winnipeg player, Boschman, was offside as Vernon makes the save. 15:35 remaining in the second period. 1-0. The Flames lead the Jets. This is the fourth game of this Smythe Division semifinal. Winnipeg leads the series 2-1. So far, all the games have been won by the visiting team. The Jets taking the first two at the Saddle Dome. The Flames winning in overtime last night. Waters overskated it. Covering up is Carlyle. He plays it off the boards, and Brian Mullen races after it. Mullen is upset, tried to hook it out. It bounces high. Dug out by the Jets. Howardchuk couldn't center it. Buller back of the net. McLean tries to jam it out. Here's a chance for Howardchuk. He's tied up. A backhand shot that's directed wide. Along the boards, Patterson gets it out to center ice. Here's a 2-on-1. Holland Buller going in against Carlyle. The shot. Save. They score. Hull got the rebound and jammed it in.
Hull was thinking shot all the way on this play. The puck was tipped ahead. Hull picked it up. Had Carlyle as the lone defender. Randy played the pass. Hull kept going, actually had the puck behind the goal line, brought it back out in front, and tucked it in underneath.
It got away from Berthiaume, and an alert Brett Hull tucked it in to the far side, and it's a 2-0 Calgary Flame lead, and that has silenced the crowd here at the Winnipeg Arena. Flames ahead of the Jets by 2. Paul Baxter fires it in. Merwa bumped by Tim Hunter. Andrew McBain dumps it down the ice. The official on the goal, Hull from Patterson and Bullard, an icing call against Winnipeg. Hockey Night in Canada, a Stanley Cup tradition.
Gillette is changing the face of shaving with Atra. First, we made it closer with a pivoting head. Now there's Atra Plus to make it smoother. The advanced lubricants in a unique white Lubra Smooth strip are released to deliver Gillette's closest, most comfortable shave ever.
2-0 Calgary leading. A first period goal, a shorthanded tally by Hokenlube, and the second period marker by Brett Hull. The Flames trying to get back on even terms with the series returning to Calgary for Game 5 on Tuesday night. Boschman against Nieuwendyk in the face-off circle. The draw comes to Hunter. His quick shot is deflected over the glass and out of play.
And Don will be back in Calgary Tuesday night for Game 5 of the series, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central on Hockey Night in Canada.
And if it goes to a sixth game, it will take place at the Winnipeg Arena on Thursday night. Daniel Berthiaume has started all 4 games in this series for the Winnipeg Jets. Reggie Lemelin started the first game for Calgary. Mike Vernon has played the last 3.
Pokey Reddick, of course, naturally, a lot of speculation here today if the Jets would go to Reddick, but Berthiaume's had 3 good games, and I certainly wouldn't fault him here tonight. He's hasn't had quite as much work as Vernon, but he hasn't had much of a chance.
Well, we said last night that penalty killing was a key factor for the Calgary Flames in their win. It's been a key factor again in this hockey game. And the Flames get it out into the center ice area. Lube playing it off the boards, and Frederick Olofsson goes back for Winnipeg to Paul McLean. Rink-wide pass for Dale Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk with a shot, and Vernon's got that and hangs on. Mike Vernon made some big saves for Coach Bob Johnson, particularly in the third period of last night's game. And he has come up big again in this one, the 4th game. A very key game for the Flames. They want to go back home for Tuesday on even terms.
Johnson's been going with his 4 lines throughout most of the series.
And he's also been doing a fair bit of juggling with his lineup. Dan Maloney has pretty much stayed pat. Here come the Flames with Wilson in across the line to Poplinski. Poplinski centering it, and it failed to get through. Ian Duncan plays it off the boards and down the ice with Neil Sheehy retreating into his own zone, and the Jets making a line change. 13:40 remaining in this second period. 2-0. The Flames in front. Wilson again trying to move in, tied up by Tim Waters and Randy Carlyle. Waters trying to get it out against Poplinski. He can't. Randy Carlyle blocked a shot with his skate, with Kerry Wilson sitting in front of that net. Here's a chance down for Bullard as he picks it up. 1-on-1 against Waters. Bullard takes the shot to save, and the rebound is picked up by Carlyle. Played off the boards to the neutral zone. Picked up by Paul Baxter. He dumps it in. And Tim Waters is being bothered in his own zone by Bullard. Falls in the corner. The puck is underneath him. There's a whistle on the play. 13:02 is the time remaining in the second period, with the Flames in front by 2.
There's one guy in every block with the perfect lawn. His secret? Golf green with CIL's exclusive SCU formula. It gives quick green up without burning. A closer look shows how the SCU, with its 3 special protective coatings, slowly releases nitrogen to feed your lawn for over 2 months, long after many other fertilizers have quit. This spring, insists on
action tonight. The Rangers trying to bounce back from 2 straight losses to even their series with the Flyers, lead 4-1. Same score, Washington over the Islanders. The Capitals lead that series 2-1.
Well, the Rangers have had the Flyers' number in playoff action, and it looks as though they're making a good run at it again this year.
And home ice is being destroyed in most series, Don.
Laurie Boschman leading the attack. In across the line. Over to Mullen. A shot saved. The rebound. And Boschman is tied up by Alaranda. He dumps it out to the neutral zone. Jim Kite. Boschman to Mullen. It's offside. .12:35 is the time remaining in the second. Mike Bullard making a nice move, trying to break in one-on-one against Tim Waters.
Carlisle had to give a little bit of room, and it was actually Waters was back, and Carlisle was chasing him, and I didn't think he could get the shot away that quickly, and Berthiaume had to be sharp.
Bullard with that overtime winner last night, 2 goals in the second game in Calgary, and a power play tally in the first game. Kite shoots it in. Big bounce played by Vernon to Kevin Guy. To Reinhardt. Rink wide for Mullen. To Nieuwendyk. He dumps it in. Going back after it is Marois. The two of them battle in back of the Winnipeg goal. It comes loose at the side of the net, and Ian Duncan has it for Winnipeg. Duncan, the rookie from Bowling Green. A bouncing shot that Vernon gloves and drops off at the side of the net. Mullen gets it ahead to Nieuwendyk as the Flames go to the attack. He shoots it in. Tim Hunter picks it up off the boards. The shot. Another drive by Mullen that dribbled off the end of a stick. Duncan trying to get it out. He can't. It's loose in front of the net as it bounced away from Kite. And the Flames, with some good forechecking, are forcing the Jets in their own zone. Now Howardchuk dumps it down into Calgary territory, and Reinhardt has it for the Flames. For John Tonelli. Lead pass broken up, but Mullen following up on the play brings it in. 11:25 left in the period. Bozak gets it back to the net. Bozak is spun around. The battle continues for the puck. And finally it's whistled down as Smale was on top of it after the collision behind the Winnipeg goal. Bozak added some real jump, some life to the attack of the Calgary Flames, appearing in his first game last night.
I think all coaches have favorite players, and Bozak is a strong favorite of Bob Johnson. He knows that speed is a big part of this game. He's concerned that his back injury might keep him out for the series. Bozak returned and I think made the difference in last night's game.
Face off to the left of Daniel Berthiaume with 11:16 remaining. Dave Ellett has been partnered back on the blue line tonight with Frederick Olesen, moved back to defense after playing right wing for the first 3 games. Brad Berry, who had been back there with Dave Ellett, out of the Winnipeg lineup tonight. Gilles Hamel inserted into the lineup. The officials doing some ice repair work deep in the Calgary zone. As mentioned, the players out of the lineup for the Calgary Flames tonight. Jamie McCowan, who was hospitalized in the early hours of the morning and will likely remain in Winnipeg's Health Science Center for about 3 or 4 days. Doug Risebrough and Lanny McDonald. Into the lineup tonight, Kevin Guy, Perry Berezan, and John Tonelli.
The Flames said they would not play Risebrough in back-to-back games, and after tonight, of course, they won't have those situations the rest of the playoffs. And the Flames anxious maybe to see when they get back home after being bad boys at home for 2 games, probably hoping that their fans can say, will you give us a little redemption? And they're just looking for a big reaction from that sea of red that they had going last year in the playoffs. And this would be a very strange series with no home team winning maybe after 4 with a 2-0 lead. The Jets have got to come up with a little bit of offense, and it's tough, Don, because they are a defensive club and they don't want to just get away from their system, and they know how this team can score.
A sea of red at the Saddle Dome, a whiteout at the Winnipeg Arena. But so far it's been a shutout for Mike Vernon, 2-0. The Flames leading the Jets. The fans trying to get involved in this hockey game and inspire the Winnipeg Jets. They lead the series 2-1. Ellett gets the draw around to Frederick Olesen. He dumps it ahead, and it's deflected to center ice by Thomas Steen. John Tonelli battling for it along the boards with Ellett. The Winnipeg defenseman comes up with it. He moves it out. Pass on the left side. Returned to Ellett by Laurie Boschman. It's deep in behind the Calgary net. Thomas Dean has it. Tried to get it back to the point. Hamel lets the shot go. That's wide. At the other point, Frederick Olofsson manages to keep it in. Steen from the corner. Playing it back to the point. Olofsson lets the shot go. That's wide. Gilles Hamel back to the line. Ellett takes the shot. It's deflected wide. Hamel to the point. Olofsson lets a shot go. That's deflected wide. Smale bangs away at it. It's loose at the side of the net, and Tonelli picks it up in the corner and manages to dump it out to center ice. Good pressure by the Winnipeg Jets, but most of the shots were wide. Here's Hamel playing it off his skates into Calgary territory, and Sheehy picks it up back of his own goal. Gets it ahead to Poplinski. And across the line with Suter going to the net, back to Kerry Wilson. Moving in, he scores! I don't know whether that one is going to count or not. There was a whistle on the play, a penalty on Gary Suter. It won't count. No goal, as Suter was detected holding, and that will nullify the score.
Last night with Andrew McBain being penalized and a Jet goal being nullified, the Jets will be hoping to bounce back into the game on this one.
So the Jets, trailing by 2, have another power play that has been very ineffective during this series. Here's Howardchuk going for the net, a shot, the save, big rebound, they score! McLean knocks it in.
Takes the initial shot. Vernon was off balance. The puck was in the air. And we know the baseball season has started.
Actually, I think it was Mullen who may have got the stick on it.
Puck was up in the air. A lot of jostling and pushing, and Mullen a goal scorer. And the crowd has erupted. The Jets feel maybe history will repeat as it did last night in the Flames' favor.
Well, in last night's game, the Flames trailed by a 2-0 margin in the first period and fought back to tie it and then went on to win. Another shot deflected by Paul McLean off the stick of Randy Carlyle. Tim Waters keeps it in. Mullen from Howardchuk and Carlyle. The goal for Winnipeg. At the point, Carlyle unable to keep it in. He dumps it along the boards for Mullen. He shoots it into the Calgary zone. Knocked out by Jim Poplinski. And now Patterson shoots it into the Winnipeg zone. Brett Hull, who scored the second Calgary goal, battling in the corner. Nieuwendyk stepped into Mullen along the boards as the puck was knocked back into the Calgary zone. Ahead for Tim Hunter. He's bodied by Smale, kept in by Gilles Hamel, working against Alaranta. Trying to move in front, the puck loose. Fired to the line and out. A race for it, and Marois gets there first. Well, that goal, Scotty, appears to have inspired the Winnipeg Jets.
2 good shifts in a row for this Steen line. Steen, Hamel, and Smale putting a lot of speed in this game.
And Steen is hurt. He took a good hit deep in that Calgary zone. And he's slow getting up. I believe it was Baxter who leveled him. 8:29 left in the period. The Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC.
We didn't know that our daughter had signed an organ donor card until she died. It was attached to her life.
Well, that goal by Brian Mullen, a power play tally. On the power play in the series, the Jets 3-4-20.
Dan Maloney being very persistent with Howardchuk and McLean, the Red winners most of the season on the power play, has stuck with them and was rewarded with that goal by Brian Mullen.
Boschman with Neufeld and Duncan for the Winnipeg Jets. Kerry Wilson is out there with Poplinski and Berezan. 8:29 left in the second. The Flames in front of Winnipeg 2-1. Winnipeg leads the series 2-1. Reinhardt. Rink wide pass. Picked up by Dave Ellett. He gets it ahead to Duncan. And I believe there are going to be penalties coming up here. Coincidental minors to Wilson, and it would appear Boschman. A high sticking call. They were in that face-off circle and continued the jousting as the play went to the other side of the rink. A lot of coincidental minors tonight.
Well, Boschman, we know that he likes to aggravate most of the opposition. The Flames have made a beat on him, but he's held his head very well in this series, knowing the importance of his face-offs to the Winnipeg team. He's been a good agitator.
Boschman and Wilson for high sticking at 11:41. It was 1-0 after the first period on a shorthanded goal by Håkan Loob. Then in the second, Brett Hull made it 2-0 for Calgary at 5:03 with Berezan and Bullard drawing assists, and then a power play goal by Winnipeg's Brian Mullen from Dale Hawerchuk and Randy Carlyle. Ellett being watched behind his own goal by Berezan. Gets it to Fredrik Olsson. Olsson pushes it into the Calgary zone. Reinhardt is tied up by Smale. Kevin Guy bumped by Andrew McBain. McBain trying to get it out front. Hits the skate. Slides it out front again. But Hawerchuk couldn't get a stick on it. McBain is bumped hard by Poplinski. The Flames trying to move it out. Ellett keeps it in. Takes a shot. That deflects. Comes to the line. And the Flames knock it out. McBain manages to steal it. He fires it back in, and the Jets make a change as Kevin Guy moves in his own zone. A pass to Poplinski. He's stopped at the line by Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk to McLean. Over to Mullen. A shot, the save. The big rebound. It bounces high, and the Flames' Perry Berezan clears it. 7:20 remaining in this second period. Deflected in by McLean. He broke his stick in the process. Sheehy unable to get it out. Mullen keeps it in for Winnipeg. Played around the boards. McLean sends it to Tim Waters. He fires it back in behind the net. Hawerchuk couldn't control it. Loob trying to get it out. Gives it to Tonelli. Back to Loob. In across the line for Tonelli. Tonelli to Bozak. Bozak moving in. Save. And the rebound is picked up by Tim Waters. Penalty coming up against the Calgary Flames. Tonelli's going to be going off as he upset Paul McLean deep in the Winnipeg zone behind the play. So the Winnipeg Jets will have another power play opportunity with 6:41 left in the second.
Was taken into the boards by McLean and was fingered for a holding penalty. He gave it a little bit extra, I think, as McLean tumbled to the ice.
Well, the Winnipeg Jets seem to have gained momentum as this second period has progressed, despite the fact they trailed 2-1. They have now outshot the Flames 18-17.
And the goal has been a turning point for the Jets. They've come alive. They've picked up the tempo. The speed is there. And now they get another opportunity to get back on the power play after getting back into this game on a power play.
Randy Carlyle shoots it in. Comes back to the point. Merwad, a Hawerchuk in front of the net. McLean failed to deflect it, and Colin Patterson will fire it out. 6:24 left in the period. Winnipeg on the power play. They have scored one power play goal in the game tonight. They gave up a shorthanded goal. In across the line now. Hawerchuk for McLean. It went off his skates and is dumped out into the center ice area where Loob picks it up for the Flames with Bozak and across the line. Loob controlling it, playing it back to the line at offside. Neil Sheehy couldn't get to the blue line in time to keep it onside. A reminder that this program is copyrights and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, distribution, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited. Well, all fans coming to the game last night were presented with white pom-poms, and it seems that quite a few of the fans who were here last night have brought those pom-poms back with them tonight.
The Flames are using Poplinski and Patterson's size and strength, and they come back with usually with Bozak and Loob, and you've got a contrasting style with a lot of speed, so they've got that penalty killing where they want it.
1:20 remaining in the penalty to John Tonelli. A holding call. Frederick Olesen shoots it in. Thomas Steen picks it up off the end board. Back to the line, Dave Ellett. He tees it up. Right on, and Vernon makes the save. The puck is beside him, and he dives over to grab it with his glove.
Dave Ellett's been a dangerous point man for the Jets. Seems to be able to get the puck through, and in traffic, likes to go and hit one of his forwards. He had excellent shot, the rebound, and it just about squeezed by Vernon, and Vernon made the rebound save. Jets are getting some traffic in front of the net right now.
Mike Vernon has been tested 19 times. He has faced 12 of those shots in this second period. Vernon won all 3 playoff games against the Jets last year. Calgary eliminated Winnipeg in 3 straight. Last year, the preliminary round, best of 5 affairs. This year, all series, best of 7. There are a lot of teams breathing a sigh of relief, Scotty, that they are best of 7 series.
It wasn't very good to see a good team squander a season by getting off to a slow start and then not having much chance to recover in a series.
Boschman against Reinhardt. Back to the line to Dave Ellett. Ellett over to the other side. Frederick Olesen had difficulty handling it. Gets it back to Ellett. A shot knocked down in front. Boschman back to the line. Ellett slides it in to Steen, to Boschman. He couldn't get a shot away. Neufeld back to the point to Olesen. Over to Ellett. Ellett moving in. A shot doesn't get through. Knocked down by Loeb, and he clears it. 34 seconds remaining in the penalty to Tonelli. 5:12 left in the period. Laurie Boschman coming to the line. Tried to slide it through, and it's intercepted by Patterson. He brings it out with Jim Poplinski. 2-on-2. In across the line. Decides to play it back into his own zone. Intercepted by Ray Neufeld. Neufeld is stopped at the line. And the Jets, with 10 seconds left in the penalty, have to regroup in the neutral zone. Olesen drops it off to Boschman. Boschman rink wide, looking for Smale. Smale centered it, nobody there. Loose puck. Hamel took a swipe at it. It bounced off the end of his stick. And the penalty to Tonelli is over. He comes out of the box. The race for the puck is touched by Dave Ellett for an icing call against the Flames. 4:32 left in the period.
A big penalty kill for the Flames. It seems their defense of Suter stood up very well, and Eloranta, and with the Jets going to a new power play, certainly Howard Chuck and Mullen have been on most of their power plays, and they went with Boschman on this one. And Dan Maloney is trying everything in his power because they've had the opportunities on the power play.
Maloney coached the Leafs to a big upset of the Chicago Blackhawks in the Norris Division first round a year ago, and almost knocked off the St. Louis Blues. The Blues eventually lost in 7 games in the conference final to these same Calgary Flames, who were eliminated in the Stanley Cup final against Montreal. Neuendijk and Wilson in the face-off circle. The draw back to Kite, a shot right off. The rebound, back at it, they score! Doug Smale!
We talked about this line, and Smale dug the puck back out. Good blue line shot, the rebound came out. No Flame in sight. Come in and put a good backhand and got off the goal post. 2 nights in a row, face-off goal. And in the tight series, it means so much to those draws. And just put it on the right by Vernon on the stick side.
So the Winnipeg Jets are back on even terms with the Flames as Randy Carlyle shoots it in. A battle for that puck in the Calgary zone. It's dug out by Berezan, leading a 3-on-2. In across the line, poked away from him by Tim Waters, and then Berezan bumped into the boards. The first goal of the playoffs for Doug Smale, as Jim Kite draws an assist on the goal along with Mario Marois at 15:34. Howard Chuck trying to break in, knocked down by Reinhardt, and back comes Calgary. Bullard across the line, moving in, nice maneuver, and it's kicked away by Berthiaume. Dumped up to the line. A pass for Laurie Boschman. He tries to slide it through. Stopped by the Flames. Then McLean carried on and tried to center it, but it was knocked down by Calgary. 3:24 left in the second period. 2-2 the score. It was 1-0 Calgary at the end of the first. Then the Flames moved ahead 2-0 in the second period. But the Jets have fought back with 2 goals. One a power play tally by Mullen, and then the goal by Smale. Tonelli centers it. Luke couldn't get a shot away. Loose puck picked up by Neufeld. He gets it ahead to Laurie Boschman. In across the line. Drop pass for Olesen. His shot goes wide. Back of the net. Boschman tries to jam it in front. A loose puck, and it's covered up by Vernon as the Winnipeg player driving in flies over top of the Calgary goaltender and into the net.
One of the tougher plays for a goaltender when the puck is behind the goal. Vernon showed a lot of poise. He didn't get suckered into going one way or the other. When the puck was loose, he jumped on it. Come up with a big save for the Flames. The crowd is alive, and the Jets have had a big second period.
Well, the momentum in this second period certainly seems to have shifted, Scotty.
Well, I think the home ice advantage, we talked about it, and we see here where Vernon took quite a tumble after freezing the puck. And the Flames know this type of goaltending is what took them last year in so many tight games. The Jets, of course, are used to these games during the season. It's been a low-scoring series, and that is maybe what the Jets have been looking for. The crowd is certainly pushing them as far as they can right now.
If shots on goal are an accurate reflection of the way the play has switched from the first period, the Winnipeg Jets have directed 16 shots at Mike Vernon, while Daniel Berthiaume has faced only 5 shots in the second period.
A pace like this with 4 games in 5 nights is certainly a tribute to the conditioning of both of these clubs, Don. We don't see this very often.
Thomas Steen stopped by Kerry Wilson. The puck loose in the corner, and Jim Poplinski comes back to pick it up for Calgary. Round the boards for Berezan. He takes the hit from Jim Kite as he deflects it down into the Winnipeg zone. And then Mario Marois bumped by Kerry Wilson. Hamel gets it ahead to Thomas Steen. In across the line. Steen takes the shot. That's high and wide. Kite at the point. Keeps it in. Hamel couldn't get a good shot away. Picked up by Smale. Centered it. And it bounced off the stick of Thomas Steen. Kerry Wilson. A long shot wide of the Winnipeg net. Jim Kite has it there for Brian Mullen. Mullen to Gilles Hamel. Hamel with a shot off the leg. The rebound. Steen lets the shot go, a weak one. And that's steered to the corner by Vernon. Now back to the net. Centered by Hamel, and Vernon covers up with Mullen looking for a loose puck. 1:55 is the time left in the second.
I think we can look to Dan Maloney. He's got a hot line on his hands, and in third period, we should see a lot of that line. Smale, Hamel, and Steen have turned this game around for the Jets.
1:55 remaining. Dan Maloney saw his team jump into a 2-0 lead last night, and he watched as the Calgary Flames fought back to tie it and then go on to victory.
Generally, these games are played in either end, and that's the dangerous part, and certainly they're playing a lot in the Flames' end now.
Gary Sutter taking that penalty, a holding call negating what appeared to be a score for a 3-0 lead by the Calgary Flames on the shot by Kerry Wilson. Instead, the Jets came back with a power play goal. It was 2-1, and then they tied it. Brian Mullen dumping it up along the boards. Dale Hawerchuk fires it out. Sutter turns at his own line. Dodges one check. Can't get away from Hawerchuk, and McLean has it. On the wing for Mullen. Drops it back for Hawerchuk. A shot was saved by Mike Vernon. Bullard coming back for Calgary. He dumps it in. A race for the loose puck as Berthiaume came out of his net to knock it away from Brett Hull. Back comes Carlisle. He feeds it into Mullen, and Mullen is knocked off the puck by Reinhardt. The puck loose in the Calgary zone. Hunter banging along the boards with Boschman. Boschman managed to keep it in. Now Guy feeds it ahead to Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk in across the line for Hunter, but Mullen was offside, breaking in on the right wing. 55 seconds remaining in the period. The score tied at 2.
Joey Mullen, who hasn't seen a lot of ice time in this game tonight, and more pushing and shoving in front of the net.
Now we've got Mario Marois and Tim Hunter going at it. And there's more hanging on than any actual punches being thrown in this scrap. Although Hunter now works that left hand free. But I don't think anything really serious is going to develop here. The two linesmen, Ryan Bozak and Gerard Gauthier, get in.
Berthiaume has been roaming around of his crease. He's pointing something to Bob Hall, and he's very concerned, and Bob Hall told him to stay in his goal crease, which is where a goaltender is supposed to stay. I guess now he's giving him permission to go to the Jets bench.
Well, Hunter is still trying to get at Marois, and in the center ice area, Reinhardt and Boschman are pushing and shoving. Hunter and Marois have been separated.
Boschman and Reinhardt had something going in the first period, and it's been resumed. I don't know if they want to go with each other or if they're just talking. And
well, both Hunter and Marois, with 55 seconds left in the period, go off to their respective dressing rooms. And we have Neufeld and Guy now going at it. Suddenly,
secondary altercation. Guy and Neufeld could be gone for this game. If Hunter and Marois, if that fight has been deemed as the first fight, anybody else who would fight subsequently after that would get a game misconduct.
Well, Boschman and Reinhardt have been separated, but we still have Ellett and Mullen hanging on to each other, and Brian Mullen hanging on to Joe Nieuwendyk. I wonder what would have happened if the two Mullens would have grabbed each other.
That's right. They've been on the ice against each other, but never against each other by position.
So two scraps break out with 55 seconds remaining in this second period, with the score tied at 2.
Both teams can ill afford to lose any personnel for the rest of this game, the fourth game in 5 nights.
Well, that's what Bob Johnson was talking about prior to the game. He said, we haven't done this since I've been in Calgary, 4 games in 5 nights. We need fresh legs. That's one of the reasons I'm making the lineup changes. We carry the players. We want fresh legs in the lineup, and the fresh legs of Steve Bozak certainly responded last night.
The Flames carried 24 players throughout the season, and they just kept swinging them in and out depending on their opposition. And I think we heard about that in the finals last year, where how many players does it take really for a National Hockey League team? And I think the magic number now is somewhere around 29 or 30 for the team that goes all the way. I think they're discussing right now, Hall and the two linesmen, the fact that definitely Hunter and Marois were the two combatants that started this fracas, and I think Neufeld and Guy might be fingered for that game misconduct. I don't think any of the other players did enough. They were squaring off, but it looked like Neufeld and Guy definitely swung and threw punches.
Well, it'll take a moment or two while referee Bob Hall sorts this one out and assesses the penalties.
Join us Tuesday night for Game 5 of the Smythe Division semifinal. Mike Buller's overtime goal in Game 3 ensured the Flames another home game at the Olympic Saddledome. Game 5 Tuesday night on Hockey Night in Canada.
And both Guy and Neufeld are gone for the rest of this game.
So with his blue line already depleted with the injuries to Al McInnes and Jamie McCowan, Kevin Guy is out of the lineup for the balance of this game. The 2-minute minor will be served by the Winnipeg Jets, and then they will have a 3-minute power play. This is how it all started, seemingly harmless enough. And then Tim Hunter and Mario Marois get involved, and they seem to be slashing away at each other with sticks.
And they're the first combatants, Hunter and Marois. And Marois gone for 2, and Hunter, the Flames will play shorthanded for 5 minutes.
2-2 the score. Game 4 of this Smythe Division semifinal. Dan Maloney's Winnipeg Jets leading 2 games to 1. 2 victories at the Saddle Dome on Wednesday and Thursday nights. They were 3-2 losers in overtime last night. The Edmonton Oilers earlier defeating the Los Angeles Kings this afternoon 6-3 for a 3-1 lead in games as that one swings back to Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton Tuesday night.
The fans are getting impatient, Don, and wondering when is this play going to resume. Just 55 seconds left in the second period.
A few years ago, following a preseason game that Bob Hall worked, where a general manager padlocked the door to the officials' room after the game, locking Bob Hall in there for an hour.
And that's a true story, and it wasn't me.
Thomas Steen turned around, can't go anywhere with it, and Bozak brings it out. Bozak loses it in the neutral zone to Dale Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk having trouble with Bozak. Now Olesen gets in across the line. Frederick Olesen trying to go around Sutter. Takes the shot. The puck is loose right on the line, and it's cleared by Sheehy. That wraparound effort by Frederick Olesen, and it lay right in the crease.
Looked like it might have hit the goalpost. We'll get a replay on this. I've been impressed with this Olesen. Played forward in the first 2 games in Calgary and has moved back to the defense, and he's trying to try that wraparound, and I think we're going to see some goals. That's a play that Bobby Clark probably patented early in his career, and I think we're going to see goals in the future in the National Hockey League because the players are trying it and they're getting adept at it, and it's tough on the goaltenders.
Frederick Olesen was just 17 years of age when he played in the Elite League in Sweden, so you can appreciate his talent.
The Jets feel it's just a matter of time till he has a regular spot on this defense, and they're terribly impressed the way he joined this club this year. And you know, he's the type of player that they drafted very wisely in Europe, and the dividends are coming up now.
He was a 4th-round pick in 1985. 10 seconds left in the period. The score tied at 2. Gary Wilson against Boschman in the face-off circle. Boschman would like to get the draw back to the line to Carlisle. There's the shot. It goes wide. Hawerchuk in the corner, trying to move in. Gets it to Carlisle. Carlisle with a shot to save the rebound. And that's cleared just as the horn sounds to end.
Back outside the big circle. Not that that's going to make too much difference now in that 15-foot circle. Hunter now talking to Benton.
The guy coming through, it's Inachek. It's got to go with Hunter, but keep his eye on Pazoski.
Okay, they drop the puck in. One shot, it doesn't get through, and the Leafs win it. And this series is tied at 2 games each. And the Leafs go down to say to Reggett, you pulled it out in the last 2 minutes with that save off Cavallini. And he is saying to the rest of the Leafs, you guys had something to do in the other 58 minutes, and you did a fine job. Well, we're off to St. Louis, and the series tied.
A wonderful hockey game, maybe the kind no team should lose.
Just before we joined that game, Ken Reggett made the save of the playoffs to preserve the win. Hockey Night in Canada returns in a moment.
These days, there's a lot of different mufflers on the road. Unfortunately, that's exactly where they are.
Loeb scored in the first for Calgary, a shorthanded goal, and Brett Hull made it 2-0 at 5:03. But a power play goal by Brian Mullen at 10:15 got the Jets on the board, and then Doug Smale tied it at 15:35. The Jets enjoying a big edge in play in the second period, outshooting the Flames 20-6. And the Jets, after a minute and 5 seconds of this third period is played, will have a 3-minute power play opportunity.
The Jets have had a big edge and advantages, and Mike Vernon with those 20 stops had to give up quite a few rebounds. The Jets capitalized on the goal by Smale on a rebound. A lot of the rebounds sitting there. And the Jets seemed to come on, Don, after they had that goal nullified. It would have put the Flames up 3-0. Curry Wilson scoring a goal, but Gary Suter being penalized. They came right back, and Mullen got the Jets in the game, the same as it happened last night when McBain nullified a Jets goal, and they could have been up 3-0.
Daniel Berthiaume having some problems apparently with his equipment as he works on his catching glove. He has faced 18 Calgary shots tonight, while the Jets have directed 27 at Mike Vernon. As I said, 20 of them in the second period. And after the Jets got there first on the power play, the momentum seemed to shift dramatically in that second period, Scotty.
And now with the loss of Kevin Guy and Tim Hunter, who has played mostly forward in this game but could move back on defense, the Flames have 5 defensemen going into the third period in a 2-2 hockey game. With the fourth game in 5 nights, that could be a factor.
35 penalties have been assessed so far in the hockey game. Referee Bob Hall has had a busy night. Dave Ellett to Ron Wilson. Wilson shoots it in. Doug Smale racing in after it. Vernon got there first. A shot from a bad angle by Ron Wilson. That was knocked down in front by Ron Wilson. Picked up by Bullard. He's bumped. It goes to Shee. Shee works his way out into the neutral zone. At the line, gets it to Mullen. Mullen is spun around. The puck between his skates, tried to get a shot away. He was knocked down. The Jeff Olofsson starts back. Olofsson in across the line, waiting for his teammates to catch up. Tried to play it across to Randy Carlyle, and it was almost intercepted by Joey Mullen. Olofsson falls in the corner. Carlyle digs it out. Pokes it ahead to Brian Mullen. In 10 seconds, the Jets will be on the power play. Howardchuk puts on the brakes. Looks back to the point. Thomas Steen fires it for Howardchuk. He tried to slide it in front, was tied up. Brian Mullen has it in the corner. Deflected by Howardchuk. He scores!
Dale Howardchuk went to where you should go to score goals, right in front of the net, and was able to get his stick on it and deflected it into the top corner. The Jets had just returned from a penalty, but it will be reported as a power play goal. See, Howardchuk just got his stick on the puck, right in front of the goal, being tied up by the Flame defenseman.
The third of the playoffs for Dale Howardchuk at 1:09, and still 2:56 remains in the power play following that match penalty assessed against Tim Hunter for headbutting. The Jets leading this game for the first time. Reinhart goes into his own zone, and now we have Sheehy and Carlyle back in the neutral zone. Steen and Mullen drawing assists in that goal by Howardchuk, and we have more penalties upcoming. From the arena in Winnipeg, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. Sheehy and Carlyle going to the penalty box. A minute and 16 seconds into this third period. Sheehy for slashing, Carlyle for tripping.
And the Jets have arrested McLean, Howardchuk, and Mullen line up front with Ellett and Steen on the points.
The draw back to Ellett. Over to Steen, to Mullen, to Howardchuk. Howardchuk back to the point to Ellett. He tees it up. The shot doesn't get through. Ellett gets it again. Over to Steen. Steen to Mullen. He centers it. It bounces off the leg. And Bozak, or I should say Suter, gets the opening and dumps it down the ice.
These major penalties are always a factor. If the penalized player does not return, as we know.
Thomas Steen starting out slowly for Winnipeg. Steen in across the line. Moving right in. Steen trying to slide it out front. He's tied up. Paul McLean has it. Back to the point to Dale Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk fakes the shot. Over to Ellett. Back to Hawerchuk. Hawerchuk lets it go. It's deflected wide by Paul McLean. McLean gets it again. Back to the net to Steen. Quick shot. Left save by Vernon. Oh, did he react in that one?
Could be the save of the series. Mike Vernon shot from about 10 feet in the slot area. Got everything into this shot. Thomas Steen didn't one-time it, teed it up. Vernon had the corner covered. And Gary Suter was playing without a stick. The Flames were down to 3 players. Big stop for the Flames. Mike Vernon coming up big.
1:52 remaining in that 5-minute penalty assessed against Tim Hunter late in the second period. Boschman in the face-off circle against Poplinski. Boschman gets the draw, goes to the net with it, then chases after the puck. Boschman keeps it in for Duncan. Duncan was upset. The puck is played around on the boards, but not out. Boschman manages to control it. Boschman back to the point to Dave Ellett. He lets a shot go through traffic, and it hit a player in front. Ellett keeps it in at the line. Ellett moving in, shot. That just goes wide. At the other point, Frederick Olesen plays it in. Duncan has it. He dumps it off to McBain. McBain plays it back to the net. Duncan tried to get it up front. Boschman jammed it, and Vernon covered the short side. Boschman takes another swipe at it. It goes off a leg, and Patterson fires at the length of the ice.
Jets have had good possession on this power play, working the puck around very well. Dave Ellett showing a lot of poise on that defense.
Ellett plays it ahead to Hawerchuk. He gets away from Lou. In across the line for Mullen. Mullen going for the net. And Vernon was down, got a piece of it. Vernon is still down, and the puck at the side of the net, and he manages to get a glove on it. 49 seconds left in the penalty to Hunter. 16:44 in the period.
Chrysler announces Canada's best back.
Mike Vernon has been brilliant again tonight. Were it not for his work, the Jets could lead by more than a single goal.
True test of a goaltender in shorthanded situations, and that's when you really earn your money.
The draw comes back to the line to Thomas Steen. Over to Mullen, a shot, it goes wide. Carlisle at the point, in for McLean. He took a shot, it bounced off a Flame player. Carlisle pinches in from the point, manages to keep it in, but now Berezan gets that opening and clears it. 31 seconds remaining in the penalty to Tim Hunter. Rink-wide pass for Carlisle. Carlisle bumped by Sheehy, then takes a hit from Neuendijk. Still battling for the puck in the corner. Hawerchuk comes up with it. Back to the line for Mullen. Over to the other side to Thomas Steen. Steen takes the shot. It goes off a leg to the corner. Hawerchuk gets it free. Tried to center it. Nobody there. Mullen has it for Winnipeg now. To Carlisle. The shot doesn't get through. Hawerchuk stops it. Takes the shot. Save. Rebound. McLean jamming at it. And Vernon covers up on that one.
I'm amazed how Vernon can stand up on those shots, and that's the secret, I think. He's only going down on a second rebound. Stood his ground against Hawerchuk. Made a good save and smothered up the rebound. The Jets have really parted on this power play, this major penalty, and Hawerchuk on a turnaround outfight Shee for the puck and put it right in the top corner and didn't flinch. Vernon just knocked it down, and the Flames were able to cover up.
Well, the penalty to Hunter has expired, and we understand that Paul Reinhardt has gone off to the Calgary Flame dressing room. So, Scotty, they're now down to 4 defensemen.
And these last 4 defensemen killed this penalty. We had over 3 minutes with the 4 defensemen working in pairs of 2.
Al McInnes was injured in Game 2. Jamie McCowan in Game 3. Kevin Guy has been banished for the rest of this game. There's a penalty coming up against Doug Smale as he upset Paul Baxter. So with 15:44 left in the third period, the Calgary Flames get an opportunity to tie it.
Computerizing India's rail system is a challenge, but it's being done
through Canac International, a subsidiary of CN. The CN traffic control system creates efficiency, reduces costs, and human error. Now, China, Hungary, Brazil, and Argentina are talking to Canac too, exporting its own compact efficiency. That's CN's success worldwide.
Doug Smale in the penalty box, drawing a hooking call at 4:16.
Over-anxious Doug Smale in the attacking zone. Just got his stick a little bit high and a nice dive, but a penalty nevertheless, and the Flames get on the power play.
40 penalties have been assessed so far in the game. Hasn't been much time in the game tonight where that box hasn't had a 10. And here's Mullen breaking in, saved by Berthiaume. Back to the line to Hull, moving in, a blast right on. Berthiaume makes the save, and Carlisle dumps it out. Brett Hull playing the point on the power play, and he has a great shot from that point position, and they always seem to be on the net. Ron Wilson breaks it up. He's out there killing off his penalty with Gilles Hamel. Now Andrew McBain comes out. Loose puck in the center ice area. McBain forces Bullard back into his own zone. Flames having trouble trying to set something up against this good forechecking by the Winnipeg penalty killers. 1 minute remaining in the minor to Doug Smale. On the right side for Mullen, trying to go around Carlisle. He falls, gets the puck back of the net for Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk for Bullard. Bullard back to the line. Suter shoots it in back of the goal. Mullen for Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk trying to move out front. Can't against Waters. Back to the line to Hull. Hull into the corner to Mullen. Mullen tries to go rink wide. He's tied up by Waters. The puck in the corner along the boards. Carlisle battling there with Bullard. Plays it around the other side. McBain trying to chip it out, having difficulty against Hull. Mullen keeps it in. A shot knocked down in front of the net, and finally it's deflected out into the neutral zone by Andrew McBain. 18 seconds remaining in the penalty to Doug Smale. Here comes Brett Hull. He lets it go just wide. Hamel bangs it off the boards, but not out. John Tonelli back to the net, out front for Bullard. Carlisle blocked that one. And the penalty to Smale is over. He comes out of the box, gets it to Hamel. In across the line, the shot just wide. The rebound, and Vernon covers up. Another big save by Mike Vernon. And Vernon may be hurt. Vernon is still down as the pushing and shoving continues in the corner. He had both Wilson and Smale driving in at him, looking for that rebound after the shot by Hamel went wide.
Carlisle made a great play on Bullard, saving a real good scoring chance, and the Jets turned it away out of the penalty box and for a real good scoring chance.
The Stanley Cup playoffs return in a moment. And Paul Baxter draw roughing minors at 6:29.
Gilles Hamel just missed the short side. The rebound came out, and Ron Wilson had the first shot at it, and Doug Smale had another shot at it. Gilles Hamel, of course, he never played the first game in this series. See here where Smale had the chance, and the Jets felt that Hamel had a great season. He didn't play as well against Calgary as he did the other clubs, but they want him to shoot the puck. He has an excellent shot, and that's how he scored his 27 goals this year. He missed the net, however, on that shot.
Well, Vernon apparently is going to be able to continue. Bearcat Murray was out taking a look at him. Paul Reinhardt has gone to the dressing room where they're examining his knee. That's the word we get from downstairs. 3-2, the Winnipeg Jets lead. 13:35 left in the third period. Loose puck in front of the net. Picked up by Kerry Wilson, dumped out to the neutral zone. Jim Kite takes a hit from Poplinski, who's almost knocked into the Calgary bench. Fired in by the Winnipeg Jets. Vernon came out of his net to play it along the boards. Boschman is bumped, manages to get the puck, takes the shot, knocked down by Poplinski, and Mullen starts back. Here's a 3-on-2. On the wing for Kerry Wilson, centering it, and Poplinski was tied up. Back comes Winnipeg. A 2-on-2 situations. Up and in McBain. Long shot that Vernon plays, and then he shoots the puck down the ice. Picked up by Kaplinski, but it was across 2 lines. Now, with an update on other games, here's Chris Cuthbert.
Don, the New York Rangers have tied their series with the Philadelphia Flyers. Jan Eriksson, an empty netter, as the Rangers win 6-3 at home. And this series is also tied. Quebec gets the hat trick from Michel Goulet, 4-1 over Hartford.
And I'm sure that John Perron, having gained a spot in that Adams Division final, is hoping that Hartford and Quebec will go a full 7 games.
Certainly not going to have to play for at least a week. You see here now where Gary Suter, the lone defenseman, with callbacks to the Flames can ill afford to get any of their defensemen penalized. Even offsetting penalties could bother them, Don, with Reinhardt in the dressing room being checked over.
Sheehy, Alaranta, and Suter are going to get a lot of work here in this third period. Baxter's in the penalty box. Reinhardt's gone to the dressing room. Berzan to the line. Nieuwendyk is offside. Scotty, the unfortunate aspect of this series is that one of 2 excellent hockey teams is going to be eliminated in the first round. The Flames finishing 3rd in the Smythe, the Jets 6th. Or 6th overall, 3rd overall for the Flames, 6th for the Jets.
Team being eliminated, and there has been talk of going to conference play, seeding the teams 1 to 8, with the rivalries already having been built up. It's true, there are some good teams that are eliminated in the first round, but this format is certainly better than we had 1 in 16. There was far too many upsets at that time.
Would you like to see 1 play 8 in a conference?
I think it could be an improvement over this.
Howardchuk was unable to get around Suter. Alaranta feeds it ahead to Nieuwendyk. He's working against Ella. Gets it out front. It's deflected by Berthiaume. A battle at the side of the net for it. Berzan in there with Hallett. Tonelli fighting with McLean. Now Olsen comes in to help out, and he gets it ahead to Brian Mullen. Mullen for Howardchuk. He couldn't handle it, and Alaranta chases it down in his own zone. The Jets making a change with 12:08 left in the third. Winnipeg in front by a score of 3-2. Ron Wilson steals it. He's upset as he comes in across the line, and the Flames start back. Buller, the overtime hero, lets a shot go off Randy Carlisle's leg. Thomas Steen is upset. And the fans reacting, thinking there should have been a penalty. Good move by Wilson to Hamel. He couldn't handle it. Sheehy bumps with Hamel. Wilson digs it out. Back to the point to Carlisle. He takes a shot. Wilson gets it at the side of the net. He continues battling for it with Sheehy, and now the Calgary defenseman dumps it on the wing to Patterson. Patterson's pass to Bullard in across the line with Hull. Hull in front. Great save by Colin Patterson. Daniel Berthiaume snaked that leg out there to prevent Patterson from tying it.
Strict anticipation made the save for Berthiaume.
11:04 the time remaining in the third period. An icing call against Calgary. You see the time remaining. The Jets leading Calgary 3-2. Winnipeg leading the series 2-1. Game 5 goes at the Saddledome on Tuesday night. If there's a 6th game, it will be in Winnipeg on Thursday. Boschman against Wilson in the face-off circle. Boschman is waved out. Andrew McBain moves in. Kerry Wilson, a Winnipeg native, who suffered that spleen injury in the Smythe Division final last year against Edmonton. They dropped the puck, but they'll do it again. 2 of the players have moved into the circle.
Did the Stampeder Blue Bomber games have any more contact, Don, when you were back in those days when they were great rivals than these 2 hockey teams?
There has been tremendous physical play in this series, Scotty. There's no question about it. 2 teams very evenly matched. And as you said, unfortunately, one of them will be gone after this series. Calgary finishing 2nd in the division, 3rd overall in the NHL standings. Winnipeg 3rd, 6th overall. Jim Poplinski. who was a number 4 draft pick in 1979. A native of Renfrew, Ontario. He's wearing the C.
Played junior for the Toronto Marlboros and was like you mentioned, a 4th-round draft pick. And I remember going to see him play one night. He scored 5 goals, and talking to Cliff Fletcher, I said, I think you have a good one. And it took him a little while, but he's a very dependable player now. Excellent defensive hockey player.
McBain will face off against Wilson. In across the line, Sheehy picks it up and starts out. Sheehy tried to slide it through for Mullen, too far for him. It's loose in the Winnipeg zone, and Boschman gets it along the boards. Boschman dumps it ahead to Jim Kite. He flips it high. Vernon gloves it at the side of the net. Picked up by Poplinski for Wilson. He can't get out against Duncan. Boschman comes in to help out as well. Boschman along the boards. Lost it. It's cleared. Back comes Andrew McBain. McBain working in the corner. Knocked off the puck. Joe Mullen starts out. Pass too far for Kerry Wilson. Jim Kite has it for Winnipeg. 10-12 the time left in the third. Picked up in the center ice area by Mullen to Bozak, having difficulty controlling it, trying to go around Ellett. Ellett takes him in hard against the boards behind the Winnipeg net. Rink-wide pass for Brian Mullen. Mullen leaves it for Howardchuk. Howardchuk rink-wide for McLean. Backhand shot, great save again. Wrap around by Howardchuk, and Vernon makes another save. First he stops McLean, and then Howardchuk. An injured Calgary player, Paul Baxter, is down. And again, Bearcat Murray comes out. Now, if Baxter is hurt, the Flames will be down to just 3 defensemen.
Bob Hall having a full look here, and Brian Mullen collided with Paul Baxter. Baxter's up on his feet, however.
There was no penalty called in the play. Baxter protesting that there should have been. Scotty, you said this is Bob Hall's first playoff game. He's got a difficult assignment tonight here at the Winnipeg Arena with 9:41 left. 41 left. No penalty on the play. Baxter protesting that there should have been. And I'm inclined to agree with the Calgary defenseman.
The Flames have already been shorthanded 13 minutes out of the first 45 minutes in this hockey game, and that takes a big toll out of a hockey team. They've done a reasonably fine job staying into this game, and they're incensed naturally with this play.
Baxter trying to show Bob Hall that the inside of his mouth was cut with that elbow from Brian Mullen, but there was no whistle and no penalty. So the face-off will take place to the left of goaltender Vernon. 3-2, the Jets lead the Flames. 39-21, the shots on goal. And Baxter still having some problems as he goes over to that Calgary bench.
Bob Johnson is trying to make sure that Bob Hall has a good look at Paul Baxter. He knows he's not going to get a penalty on this one, but he's working on the next one, and that's the coach's job.
Kept in at the line by Olsen. Sheehy along the boards for Hull. Can't get it out. Ellett takes a shot. It goes wide. Berzan taken into the boards by Doug Smale. Doug Smale gets it. Takes a shot from a bad angle. It sails wide. Brett Hull brings it out. Stopped at the line, but it was offside. To bring us up to date on other out-of-town games, once again, Chris Cuthbert.
Just one other game to report on, Don. Detroit and Chicago have gone in opposite directions this year. The Wings trying to complete a sweep early in the third.
Jacques Denaires, who took the St. Louis Blues to the Campbell Conference Final against Calgary last year, doing a great job this season with the Red Wings.
Many people feel the Winnipeg Jets are a carbon copy of the St. Louis Blues of a year ago with a little bit more offensive skills.
Frederick Olofsson dribbling a shot in. That Vernon steers to the corner for Baxter. front to Smale. He deflected it wide. A shot by Gilles Hamel went high and off the glass as the puck is knocked out to the neutral zone. Most of the play since about the midpoint of the second period has been in the Calgary end of the rink. Hamel in the neutral zone, looking for Smale too far, and Hull picks it up and clears it. Steen waits for his mates to get onside, then dumps it in. 8:39 remaining in the third. Winnipeg leading Calgary 3-2. Brett Hull with a long shot right on. Berthiaume is forced to make the save. Randy Carlyle around the boards for Andrew McBain. He dumps it ahead for Boschman. Boschman too far for Duncan. Sheehy goes back of his own net, loses it there to Duncan. Duncan trying to get it back to the point. It's flipped out by Kerry Wilson to Berezan. Berezan trying to go around Carlyle. It's steered to the corner by Berthiaume. Joe Mullen has it back to the net. Couldn't control it there, and Duncan starts back for Boschman. Boschman shoots it in. It appears in this third period, Scotty, that Bob Hall isn't going to call any penalties.
That's what's happening in these type of games. In the third period, it's awful tough to get a power play. And
offside at the line as Lube was ahead of the play. He and McLean are still tangled up in the corner. And more pushing and shoving with Sheehy coming in now. But Sheehy wisely moves out because the Flames can't afford to lose another defenseman. Live on CBC, the Stanley Cup playoffs. 7:47, the time left. The face-off outside the Winnipeg line. Dan Maloney opts to make a line change. He sends out Ron Wilson with Doug Smale and Andrew McBain. Bozak is out with Lou Antonelli for the Flames. Baxter and Alaranta on the blue line. Alaranta for Baxter. He drives it in deep. Berthiaume stops it back to the net for Mario Marois. Dumps it ahead to McBain to Ron Wilson. Wilson trying to go around Alaranta. Looking in front for McBain. The pass didn't get through. McBain now tries to get it back to Wilson. He's tied up. The puck into the slot. Nobody there. And back comes Hulkenlund for the Flames. Trying to go around Kite. Marois takes the puck away from him. Smale for Wilson. Wilson in across the line. Going for the net. Shot glove saved by Vernon. It was labeled for the far corner. And Vernon comes up with another big stop.
Vernon's playing with a lot of confidence. He's now really coming out, blocking his angles. Certainly held this Jets team to 3 goals and 40 shots. The Flames have to get their offensive... The offensive players have not seen a lot of action. They've got to come up big for them in the next 7 minutes. They get 7:05 to tie this game, or at least push it into overtime. And I think we'll see a lot of players like Bullard and Lube and Hull and Tonelli. Because of the penalty situation, it's taken its toll, and fellas like Poplinski and Patterson been out there quite a bit tonight.
Well, during regular season play, the Flames averaged just over 2 goals per game against the Jets. They're running at that same total in the playoffs. Paul Reinhart has returned from the dressing room. Reinhart is back on the ice as Bob Hall talks to Winnipeg coach Dan Maloney with 7:05 left. And I'm sure Coach Bob Johnson is relieved to see Paul Reinhart return.
I think they're complaining that the Jets are making slow line changes, and they should be making the changes a lot quicker.
Mullen gets the draw. Out front looking for McLean. It's intercepted by Bullard. Ahead to Brett Hull. On the wing for Berezan. Berezan couldn't control it. And back comes Frederick Olofsson for Winnipeg. He has Mullen on the wing. Olofsson trying to go around the defenseman, still battling for the puck. It's loose and knocked ahead now to Brett Hull. 2-on-2 with Bullard. Across the line. Bullard trying to get around McLean. He can't. Back comes Winnipeg, 2-on-2. Howardchuk and Mullen. Howardchuk leaves it for Mullen. Mullen going for the net. Save! Loose puck at the side of the net as Vernon comes up with another great stop. Howardchuk made an excellent play to take the defenseman out of the play and drop it off for Mullen. Along the boards, Joe Mullen shoots it into the Winnipeg zone. Tim Waters fires it along the boards and down the ice. This will be an icing call as Alaranda touches it.
It's been a tough night for the Flames defensemen, especially being down to what they are right now, short-handed, and they just can't seem to get over. And Dale Howardchuk put quite a move on there, and Mullen was in alone.
Howardchuk set the pick and dropped it off for Mullen, and Vernon came up with another big save.
Here we are where Shea trying to chase Mullen, but Mullen had to jump on him, and Vernon didn't go down until he played the shot. Here we see now where Mullen just outraces Shea, who had to cut across and try to sneak it in the short side.
What a game Mike Vernon has played. He's faced 41 shots. The Flames have directed 22 at Daniel Berthiaume. From the face-off, it's tied up, and finally Tim Waters comes up with it. Waters playing it around on the boards. Brought out now by Boschman. Boschman knocking it ahead to Thomas Steen. He's upset by Paul Baxter. On the right side for Mullen, poking it through, broken up by Carlisle. Here's a chance for Hamel. He's got a breakaway. Gilles Hamel going in alone. Scores! Gilles Hamel knocking it free, and away he goes. Alaranda unable to catch up.
Took a look, saw the opening between Vernon's legs, and put it where he wanted it. Just tipped this puck ahead of himself, was in full flight. Nobody could catch him. Alaranda was chasing him. Saplinski was chasing him. Saw the opening. And Gilles Hamel once scored 73 goals for the Chicoutimi Juniors in the Quebec Junior League. Has averaged a goal every 4 games, and a player that benefited by the change coming to Winnipeg, and now this season, of course, scored a goal every 3 games.
The Winnipeg Arena reverberating with noise with the 4th goal of the game for the Jets. And a 2-goal advantage with 5:17 remaining in the 3rd. Thomas Steen drawing an assist on the goal by Hamel. Penalty coming up against Ian Duncan. The puck touched by the Jets, so the Flames get a power play chance with 5:04 left in the game. Duncan will be going off. Randy Carlisle doesn't draw an assist on the goal by Hamel, but what a play he made to break up a scoring sortie by the Calgary Flames just prior to that goal.
Well, Randy Carlisle, you see the penalty here to Duncan all over Kerry Wilson, and with 5:04 to go, the Flames just have to get back in the game right now. We talk about all the changes that have been made in the lineup, and Hamel dressing for one game, sitting out the next game, not dressing last night and coming back tonight. The fresh legs of these new players into the games have helped both clubs, with last night Steve Bozak being the star for the Flames.
Well, a great chance here for the Flames to get back within 1. Bob Johnson will send out his power play unit. Dan Maloney talking to his troops. And a penalty-killing unit that ranked number 1 in the National Hockey League this season. The Flames with one of the better power plays throughout regular season action. But they, too, have had some problems scoring goals in the playoffs.
The way the Winnipeg Jets killed penalties during the season, we knew that was a strong suit of theirs. The Flames have not had a lot of opportunities in this game. They've been killing most of the penalties themselves. And their power play without McInnes, of course, McCown has seen some service on the power play. They're going to go with Hull and Reinhardt on the points, and they've got Mullen and Bowden Nieuwendyk up front. And to be in this game with 5:04 to go, Mike Vernon being the stumbling block for the Jets. And they're still in it.
A lot of noise in this building. But midway through the second, they were pretty silent after the Flames had jumped into a 2-0 lead. Winnipeg came back following goals by Loeb and Hull with a power play tally by Mullen. Then they got a goal from Smale, one from Howarchuk, and the fourth goal from Hamel. Hull back at the line to Reinhardt. He shoots it wide of the goal. Marois plays it around the boards, takes a bump from Nieuwendyk, but the puck comes out across the line. Pass intercepted by Wilson. In across the line. Boschman goes to the bench. Wilson controlling it in the corner, back of the net. Finally has it taken away by Reinhardt. Over to Hull. Back to Reinhardt. Reinhardt's shot goes off a stick, bounces to the side of the goal. Ellett trying to move it along the boards, having difficulty there with Nieuwendyk. Wilson comes in as well. He gets it to Marois. He picks an opening and drives it the length of the ice. Now Loeb for Bullard. He's stopped at the line. Andrew McBain shoots at the length of the ice.
Amazing the pace that these teams have kept it up for the fourth game. Now, penalty killing by the Jets, their strong suit.
1 minute remaining in the penalty. Too far for Suter. Tim Waters hammers it off the boards and down the ice. Brett Hull being watched by Andrew McBain. Hull to Tonelli. Tonelli stopped by Carlisle at the line. And again, he drives at the length of the ice.
40 seconds left on this power play, and the Flames know that they're running out of time.
Loeb stopped at the line. They're having trouble moving into Winnipeg territory. Marois' long shot stopped by Vernon. He gets it ahead to Kerry Wilson. Wilson's pass intercepted by Doug Smale. 17 seconds remaining in the penalty. The Flames haven't been able to get a shot on this power play.
I look up, I see a Smale or a Wilson chasing the puck.
Howarchuk stops Alaranda in his own zone, takes it out to center ice, then shoots it into Calgary territory, and that will run out the penalty to Ian Duncan. The Jets back at full strength with 3 minutes remaining in the game. Here comes Hogan Loeb. Looking for Wilson, too far for him. It's in the Winnipeg corner. Howarchuk fighting, loses it, Berezan gets it, takes the shot, save, rebound, hit the post, they score! The third effort by the Calgary Flames results in a goal with 2:44 left.
Going to the net. The shot came off, and the first save was made. Kerry Wilson, we see Joe Nieuwendyk coming in and just putting it over on the second rebound. Berezan let a pretty good shot go here, and I don't know, Wilson dinged it off the goalpost, and big forwards like Nieuwendyk and Wilson going to the net gives the Flames that life again.
Strange how things go. The Flames couldn't get a shot on the power play. As soon as it's ended, they come in and score the goal. Joe Nieuwendyk bringing them within one. Kerry Wilson and Perry Berezan drawing the assists. Thomas Steen dumps it into Calgary territory. Played off the boards to the neutral zone. Frederick Olesen shoots it back in. 2:28, the time left. Berezan off the boards. Poplinski pokes it into Winnipeg territory. Bethune leaves it there for Frederick Olesen. This is an icing call against the Flames.
Frederick Olesen moved back on defense. Another little change for the Jets. Gives that little bit of extra on the defense. They've had a pretty well six-man rotation throughout the game, and led, of course, by their veterans Carlisle and Marois.
Dan Maloney making a complete change for this face-off in the Calgary zone. Howarchuk will take the draw against Mike Bullard. 4-3 the score, 2:18 remaining in the third. The Jets in front of Calgary, the Jets leading the series 2-1. Bullard shoots it in. Jim Kite tied up behind the net by Patterson. Played around the boards, but not out. Reinhardt with a shot. That bounced and hit Jim Kite in front of the net. And Kite dumps it the length of the ice. This will be an icing call against Winnipeg. 1:51 is the time remaining in the third. 4-3. The Jets lead the Flames.
Jim Kite got in the way of that shot, and the Flames are right in front. And Neil Sheehy made a good play for the Flames. He sort of was going to touch the puck, and then he made sure he didn't. We got an icing call with 1:51 to go.
Face off to the left of Daniel Berthiaume. And Maloney is taking plenty of time in making a line change. You see the effort, the exertion on the face of Neil Sheehy. All 4 games in this series have been hard-fought battles.
Home ice advantage hasn't been maybe a factor, but I think it's been a factor tonight, Don. The crowd has really come alive here ever since the middle of the second period. And it seems even after they killed that penalty, they're right up there. And good for a defensive club like the Jets.
The draw goes in behind the net. Dug out by Bullard in front. Fired high and gloved by Daniel Berthiaume. Brett Hall in front took a swipe at it, didn't get good wood on it. It deflected high, and Berthiaume had to reach up to prevent it from going in the top corner.
Looked like a knuckler. Brett Hall just didn't get everything on it, and Berthiaume was on his knees and reached up and caught it in his glove hand.
1:43 remains in the game. Winnipeg desperately trying to hang on, and the Calgary Flames with that goal by Newendike getting some life. They've got some jump in the last couple of minutes. Both teams must be extremely tired. This has been a physical, grueling series, 4 games in 5 nights. From the face-off, a shot by Patterson doesn't get through. Tim Waters starts out for Winnipeg. He drives it deep into the Calgary zone. Ron Wilson plays it around the boards to the other corner. Boschman bumps there with Suter. Brett Hall gets it to Patterson, ahead to Reinhardt. A 4-on-2. Reinhardt across the line to Brett Hall. He fanned on the shot as it took a bounce. Loose puck at the side of the net. Wilson ahead to Boschman. Here come the Jets, 2-on-1. Boschman and McBain. Suter, the low man back. Boschman shot. It's underneath Vernon. He wasn't aware of it. Kept in at the line by Marois. His shot. Knocked down in front of the net. 1 minute remaining in the game. Here's Bullard. Working against Marois. Dumps it in, and Ellett goes back after it. Ellett plays it around the board. Kept in by Poplinski. He takes the bump from Wilson. The Calgary net is empty. The extra attacker out there. They battled for that puck in that Winnipeg zone. Bozak stepped into Ellett, and Ellett took exception to that. There'll be a face-off with 40 seconds remaining in the Winnipeg zone. The Calgary net empty with Mike Vernon on the bench.
Gary Suter making sure he doesn't go past the top of the face-off circle. It's just these 40 seconds remaining. It's an awful tough road game for the Flames tonight. There's been no rotation. Just so many penalties to kill and such a widespread difference for them. But a gutsy performance by Mike Vernon. With 40 seconds to go, they're still alive.
4-3, the Jets lead the Flames. And Bob Johnson taking advantage of all this pushing and shoving. I don't believe he has called a timeout, but he's taking advantage of this incident to talk to his players, but it looks as though now he has called the timeout. So Johnson with the notepad doing some work at the bench.
60-second timeout rather than the 30, with Bob Johnson pulling out all stops. Had the Flames gathered in front of the bench before referee Bob Hall called the timeout.
Just a reminder, gentlemen, we'll be on the air Tuesday night from the Olympic Saddledome in Calgary for game number 5 of the series, 7:30 Mountain, 8:30 Central.
Game 1, 4-2 Winnipeg. Game 2, 3-2 Winnipeg. Last night, 3-2 Calgary in overtime. Tonight, 4-3 Winnipeg with 40 seconds left. The series couldn't be any closer.
We're certainly going to have Bullard going against Boschman, Mullen, Reinhardt, Suter, Kerry Wilson, and Colin Patterson.
Mike Vernon at that Calgary bench. Bullard against Boschman. From the face-off, the puck goes in the corner. Bullard gets it out front. Nobody there, and it's deflected down the ice by Andrew McBain. Reinhardt retreats into his own zone, being bothered by Boschman. Boschman takes him into the boards. Boschman for Thomas Steen. He hit the side of the net. 22 seconds remaining. Play broken up in the Calgary zone. Thomas Steen working against Joe Mullen. Joe Mullen, lead pass for Kerry Wilson. He shoots it into Winnipeg territory. It's left back of the net for Randy Carlyle. He bangs it off the board. Not out. Goes puck in front of the net. And it just sails wide. That's the hockey game. Dan Maloney out there congratulating his players.
They always complain about a coach not having emotion, but Dan is showing it right now. It's always tough to come back after an overtime loss when you're playing the next night. And they didn't have much time to reflect on their loss last night. They came back tonight. They played that solid defensive game. I think the two turning points in the game, certainly the nullified third goal by the Flames and the major penalty, the match penalty, which resulted in a 5-minute major, which allowed the Jets to get the winning, well, it would have been the winning goal, and then, of course, Hamel's goal will stand up to be the winner. But those two plays stood out in my mind.
So the Winnipeg Jets move within a game of advancing to the Slice Division Final. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage continues in a moment.
Remember the thrill.
Play by Snips, and the puck outside the line, cleared by Yzerman and Snips. Snips with a little punch in the face of Doug Wilson. Olchuk sends it back into his own zone. Hawks very close to too many men on the ice there. Now back to get it, Nyland. 25 seconds left in the Klima penalty. Now Nyland rolling it across for Keith Brown. Brown ahead for Stapleton. Stapleton into the zone. Had his stick lifted up, gets it to Larmer, back to Nyland. Nyland moving in, a shot did not get through. DeLorme blocked it. Up the boards now, Yzerman sweeps it ahead to the line, and it did not get out. Now O'Connell gets it to Burr, and he sends it back into the Chicago zone. Klima's out of the box, 3.5 remaining in the third period. Nyland for Chicago, sends it ahead for Al Secord. Secord driving it in wide of Steffen. Larmer spun around, a shot to save, and Secord skated past the rebound, and it's sent down the ice. That was a close call. Sauvé sends it ahead for Larmer. Larmer for Secord, off his stick. Beach sends it back, the wings on a break. Here comes Gallant in for the shot, he missed the net. And off the board, Stapleton has it. He's broken up by Ashton Larmer. Drops it back into the Red Wing zone. O'Connell sweeps it around for Bridgman. Bridgman able to clear the zone. Back to get it, Lutzik. Icing is the call here. The face-off, and it appears in this series the Wings will advance to the second round to meet the winner of the Blues-Toronto series, which is tied at 2. But right here we have an icing with 1:48 to go. The Wings lead it 3-1. Draw control by the Wings. Now Snips pokes it away from Troy Murray. Up the boards, Bridgman. Got it to the line, but not out. Bob Murray held it in. Empty net down to our right now. The Hawks with the extra attacker. Pulling out all stops. Here's Harold Snips sliding it out center right. The Hawks with 6 attackers. And the empty net, Wilson sends it ahead for Larmer. It's a 2-goal difference, but the Hawks, trailing 3-0 have to go for broke. Harold Snips knocks the puck down and sent it over the glass out of play. And the face-off will be to the left of Greg Steffen with 1:19 now to go. There's John Burr to take this face-off against Troy Murray. The Hawks will be trying to get it back to the points and jamming the front of the net. Burr and Bridgman out there along with Barr. Delorme and Norwood. Face-off controlled by Burr. But the Hawks with the extra man come up with the puck. Goes along the inboard C-cord. Checked by Norwood. Olchuk digs it free. Couldn't center it. Norwood. It popped in front. Delorme gets it to Barr. Barr will just send it down. Lanier boards. Bridgman gets there. No icing. Less than a minute remaining now. Lammer for the Hawks. They have the extra attacker, but they trail by a pair. Here comes Troy Murray. He fires it just wide. Out to the point. Nyland wristing it toward the net. Stops. A rebound. And Stepan a save on Eddie Olchuk. Now Bridgman muscling Keith Brown. Norwood sends it up the boards. It deflects to Nyland. Poked away by Barr. And Nyland back to get it. 35 seconds remaining in the season for the Hawks as the Red Wings are going to win this series in 4 straight. Here's Savard sending it toward the net. A tip and a save on Presley as they storm the front of the net. All academic now as Bridgman steps in for the draw, wins it from Murray. It ends up in the corner to the side of the net. Delorme sends it up the boards. Nyland holds it in, sends it back for Savard. Tried to poke it in front. Bridgman able to clear the zone. Back to get it, Keith Brown. The Red Wing bench up. They're all standing. They'll be celebrating downstairs in a moment. Mickey Redmond will be there to cover it all. And this series is over. A 4-game sweep by the Detroit Red Wings. And very quietly, Jacques Demers shaking hands with his coaching staff and his trainers as the Red Wings down to mob the winning goaltender tonight and the winner of 3 of the 4 games, Greg Stepan. Demers even taking time to sign an autograph for a Red Wing fan. No scoring in the third period. It all took place in the first 2. The Wings won in the first 2 in the second. The Blackhawks got their 1 goal in the second period, and you know who Jacques Demers is pointing to right now. He is pointing to owner Mike Ilitch sitting up in the press box at the second level up behind the Red Wing net, saying that one was for you. And a tradition in playoff competition, the lineup for the handshake. Kurt Frazier stopped and had a couple of extra words for Harold Snepps.